All right, well, you know what I'm saying? We're going to go live. I don't know what's going on with this nigga here, man. He's fucking, his shit, motherfucking, he ain't saying a goddamn thing. Like, I don't really know what the hell the situation is. I ain't got nobody in the chat, so YouTube's probably not handing out fucking notifications again. I showed on Discord to see what the hell's going on. Anyway, yo, Dip, you there, man? I can hear something, man, but I don't hear a whole lot. Like, I don't even see his shit going off, being real with you. Like, Dip, what the fuck is going on with you? God damn it, Dip. Man, listen, he'll be back later, I'm assuming. Anyway, he wanted to have a conversation about generalist versus specialist, right? And like in my brain, I immediately go to like them old school dudes who used to actually, like be able to go, they fix a car, they do the plumbing, they do the electrical, they do whatever. What up, man? Yo, listen, I got one motherfucker watching right now. Yo, YouTube's shadow banning my channel again. Fucking YouTube. Goddamn fucking YouTube. Always on some bullshit. Legit. Man, listen. This dude said, motherfucker, he'll be home soon. He'll be motherfucking be here. So, he'll be here in a little bit. We'll figure it out until then. In the meantime, I'm going to tell y'all about my adventures in Guntland, right? Because it's always awesome dealing with, internet people who, like, yo, I'll be real with you. All right. Like, there is, man, fuck you, fun of the calls with kids, man. Like, it is what it is, right? Dealing with internet people is a strange situation, right? It really is. Like, internet people are some strange people because it's a weird mix of individuals who understand what the deal is and then a bunch of normie fucks who their friends introduce them to, like, us over here on this part of YouTube. And like these individuals here, it's hard for me to deal with because like they're normal people, right? And normal people to me are strange, like as a whole. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like as far as I'm concerned, they're cattle, they're prey. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of look at them. Because like, let me be real here. When I was a pup, these are the individuals, who ended up, getting their pockets ran through. Like these are the people we took advantage of and ran their credit cards up and stole their shit. Like, these are those people. And I was a criminal for a long time, right? And like you could stand here and as a dude treat a female as how she acted and who she was, right? And there was no remorse for that. There was never any remorse for that. There was never any remorse for treating, a dirty broad like a dirty broad. Like there was never this, oh, she's just a kid because like, yo, so were we, right? It never mattered, right? Even in like, your 20s and shit, you didn't really give a shit what you did to an 18, 19-year-old female who legitimately was just a whore. Like, why would you care? Like, real shit. Because at the end of the day, they never really cared about you. Right? They doing their thing and slumming. They had no purpose in really being around you. They didn't really care about you. They didn't want no relationship with you. They wasn't interested in really being down for that situation. And so, like, when you did them dirty, you was like, oh, whatever. I don't really give a fuck. It is what it is. Like, I don't have that mental in my head to be able to go, oh, man, everybody's a blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care about people. Like, that's the fucking problem. Everybody gives a shit about people, and I don't. Like, legit, I don't give a fuck. I care about me and mines and the individuals around me. That's who the fuck I give a shit about. Everybody else in the world, could get like fucking raptured tomorrow and I wouldn't miss them. Like real talk. Like if everybody got raptured, you'd see me riding down fucking, Wall Street in a tank. dressed up like motherfucking Muammar Gaddafi and shit. Right? Because like, yo, that's how the fuck I would live if that was the situation. Right? Because I don't really care. I'd celebrate that fucking day. I don't like the law system. I don't like the mentalities that come with these things. I don't need protections. Right? My family's never needed protections. Like, yo, my neighborhood never needed protections. We didn't like the cops being there because the cops interfered in our families. Right? Like, when they sat there and they said, oh, this dude cut her off from all these families. That's abuse. I'm like, oh, get fucked. Get fucked. Like, yo, for 3,000 years, you motherfucking, like, yo, the word was you cleave from your family and become part of a new, right? That was the fucking rule. Like, yo, and all of a sudden it's like, yo, now, yo, we can't cleave them from their family, man, because, it's important that everybody stays interconnected. The individuals that made this bitch into a whore who was showing a vagina to the whole fucking world, you're gonna let her keep fucking dealing with these people. Like, yo, the fuck is wrong with motherfuckers, home? Like, for real. Jesus Christ. Man, listen, my man told me one time, he said, yo, look, he said, Tom Pease, you can take a dumb bitch, you know what I'm saying, and retrain her, right? But you can't take a bitch who thinks she knows some shit and turn her into what the fuck it is you need, right? Because that bitch already set in her ways, right? And that, like, it seems wrong to y'all, right? Because, like, with y'all, like, not y'all in my chat, because, like, y'all understand the deal, right? Like, these females are what these females are, right? Like, but like to the regular fucking normie people, they actually think that broads is actually broads, right? They think they're people and shit. Like, they think that they deserve treated well. Like, they look at a fucking broad and they go like, oh man, it's like a kitty cat or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's the weaker part of us, so we're supposed to take care of it. And I go, nah. Like, yo, I'm not really interested in that. You know what I mean? What I'm interested in is eating. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm interested in being okay long term. I'm interested in making sure that my family's cool on a long term type of deal, right? And in that, I go, what's the best way for me to do this? Not for this broad to go live with the folks, not for this broad to motherfucker stay in here and go get taken care of by the state, right? What's the best way for me to do this, right? And what's the best way, you know what I mean, that my kid's going to be okay, right? Because that's what's important to me, right, as a whole. And if I stand here and go, yo, it's best that, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm able to have a stable extra individual in the household, that's positive. Because I never want, like, another dude in the crib because, like, oh, fucking familiarity breeds bullshit, right? And it just is what it is, right? You're talking to them the same way you talk to a dog is a steady tactic. Like, yo, I'm with you. But you like, no shit on the floor. You shit outside, motherfucker. Like, rub their nose in that shit. Yo, normies are fucking, yo, they're awful, man. Legit. Like, I can't deal with them most of the time. I can't deal with fucking normal people. Like, they're too caught up. Like, I had a dude who, like, I respect. And this nigga suggested, said, why don't you just call the cops on a motherfucker? And I go, what, nigga? Like, yo, you know who you're talking to? Right? I never call the police. I would never call the cops. Right? Like, ever. Like, I don't, like, man, listen. The only reason I'm going to call the law legit is if I'm not there and there's a pedophile about to rape my fucking kids. Like, yeah, like, fuck yes, I'm going to call the cops. Somebody go help them, right? You know what I mean? But honestly, I'm going to feel some sort of kind of way if I don't have an opportunity to get to that pedophile before the fucking inmates do. You know what I mean? Like, that's my mentality. Adam Hartz, what up, man? You know what I'm saying? Nice to see you out here. Right? Like, that's kind of where my mental gets down to, is it's on this level of where I guess I've been used to just taking care of shit myself for, you know what I mean, a long goddamn time. Legit, we've always taken care of things ourselves and dealt with shit ourselves. And in that way of looking at things, I never think about the fact of, like, like, oh man, fucking their parents are gonna help. Like, yo, because most of us don't have a family structure. Like, most people I know have no family structure. Like, nobody I know kids live with their grandparents and shit. Like, that's not how it works. Like, we don't do that shit. We don't fucking have, you know what I'm saying, like, family members around helping the fuck out and shit. Like, that's never the situation. Like, you can't just have, you know what I'm saying, like, you don't stand here and have that as part of a long-term structure inside of your head. You never let that be what the fuck it is. And I guess that's kind of where my mental gets down to, because like there's a lot of motherfuckers looking at me some sort of kind of way, like, oh man, you know, you're not positive for society, whatever the case might be. Like maybe this society isn't positive for itself, right? Maybe the Anglo-Saxon way of doing things is dying because it's not sustainable. Continuing to use a man with a gun and a badge to enforce your fucking society's basic fucking formations is a terrible thing. Right? It's a horrible thing. If you're holding your society together, you're holding your families together, you're standing here and separating your families because you think it's more important that a woman is able to more fucking act the way she wants to act than for a family to be cohesive. Maybe your fucking society is garbage, right? Like legit, maybe it's fucking trash. That's really where I get down to with shit. Right? And I kind of like get on that level of where I don't really understand why it is you would think the way we're going is a good way. Maybe it's just all that simp shit we've been taught for far too long. Right? I know there's a lot of dudes out here, and like, man, I mean, there's a couple dudes out here who have good relationships and good for y'all, right? If it works for you, then, you know what I mean, good for you and shit. But a lot of us can't form basic relationships. A lot of us can't stand here and have the opportunity to be in a long-term fucking loving relationship with a female because on a regular basis, anytime you stand here and try to state your motherfucking dominance in that fucking relationship, all of a sudden you find a man with a gun and a badge in your face. And I'm not talking about putting your hands on a broad. I'm talking about just some basic shit where you're like, yo, look, man, I'll be honest, you know, I want to fucking live here, right? And she's like, well, I don't want to live here. And you like, oh, I'm going to live here. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And she forms an argument to the point of where, like, you know what I'm saying, y'all yelling and now it's abuse. Right? And these are things that, like, I don't stand well for. I don't think that our society is going well in that manner. I don't think our society as a whole is doing well. I think we're standing here, like, you know, being on a level of where, like, not trusting the males around us is destroying us as a whole. Like, there's a fucking motif today of where we're no longer trusting dudes to be dudes, right? We don't trust men to be fathers. Anytime a man disciplines his sons or disciplines his daughters, it's abuse. But a mom can break out a shoe and hit a motherfucker upside the head. It's not a big deal, right? You know what I mean? Like, yo, you can stand here and, like, yo, a dude will be drug off and put into jail. Well, a female's handed motherfucking counseling courses. That's a wrong way, right? It's because we don't have confidence in the men around us. We don't feel as though men are competent, and you're not wrong, right? Men aren't competent anymore. I mean, there's a few of us out here who are, but I feel like we should be treating more men as if they are competent at what they're doing, because at the end of the day, if a man is not allowed to raise his family as he sees fit, all this bullshit, like, yo, because I was saying, like, yo, you can have harems, you know what I mean, da-da-da-da-da, and this dude's like, it's not good for society and all this fucking bullshit, blah, 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 right? And I'm standing here and I'm going, well, like, yo, dudes aren't able to form relationships now and be inside of a household. It's something like 70-80% of fucking marriages are ending in divorce at this point, right? So really, are we actually motherfucking cohabitating properly? Is our society growing properly? It's rather obvious that we're not having children anymore. It's rather obvious, you know what I'm saying, that the divorce rate through the fucking roof. It's rather obvious that relationships don't work. Maybe it's access to social media, which again, I said, like, yo, I'd have cut that bitch the fuck off the moment I fucking had her in my fucking possession. Like, the moment she was with me, I'm like, you done with all that shit. Out here showing your fucking vagina to motherfucking half the goddamn world and think you gonna motherfucking call yourself my girl? Fuck out of here. Like, yo. Yo, oh. But it's fucking nonsense, right? Yo, divorce is not dropping. Divorce is going up, actually. Fucking, especially this year with the coronavirus and shit, right? Like, yo, and that's kind of the situation. Dip, are you finally the fuckhead, man?
Yeah. Fucking listen, man. These multimedia platforms, like, they need to fix their shit. Swear
I
to
feel
God.
like I feel like it's not the platform. I feel like it's your cell phone. Maybe you like yo, you get
Listen,
too much
bro,
dust
I
on
don't
your cell
have an
phone, bro.
issue on other devices. It's fucking Discord. I keep trying to tell you, the shit is shitty. It is shitty. I don't
Yo,
have any issue on any other app. None.
Dingleberry said fucking COVID helped couples realize they hate each other. Like, yo, nigga,
No,
you're not wrong.
that's
You're
not even
not wrong.
true, though. You know what
Yo,
it
it is.
is?
What up?
What it is, as I always say, most people don't belong in a relationship, and people, they choose the wrong partners. Women are 95% of the selectors. I heard y'all the other day what y'all were talking about women. I don't agree with everything that y'all are saying, but there are some things that are true. Like the female nature, I don't think it's that simple. I think people are allowed to be bullshitty. Like they're allowed to be shitty and they're encouraged to be shitty.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
don't
nobody
understand the brainwashing programming and indoctrination that they receive all their lives. These princess mentalities and shit. People don't get it.
well, millennials aren't getting married as a whole, right? like that. That's kind of if
I'm
the
a quote
divorce
unquote
rate.
millennial. I want to get married.
I feel you, but
You know,
as like every millennial does. Like I don't know where the fuck I am, man. I'm like right in the middle, but like fucking the millennials aren't getting married. So like it's kind of on that level where like, yeah, you're not gonna have divorce if motherfuckers ain't married and shit. You know what I mean? Like, just it is what it is. Divorce is on the rise ever since COVID happened. Because like motherfuckers were locked in the house together and shit, and they realized how much they hate each other. Right. Like older millennials are getting married
no,
and their
what it
divorce
is
rates
the
are higher.
female. I'm telling you,
What?
women divorce at 80% of the time, right? And as far as what my relationships go, I can tell you because I've dated different types of women. The reality is that a lot of women don't know what the fuck they want, and I'm not trying to put the onus just on women, but I'm just telling it like it is. A lot of them don't know what the fuck they want. They find out,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's not what I painted him up to be because it's all in the female's head. It's not what the guy actually is in most cases. Now, there are some guys who are shitty. We know this. But most of the time, it
Yeah.
comes up to what the woman fucking wants. Not about what's necessary, not about what's good, but it's what the woman fucking wants. And there's nothing the guy can do. Dead
Well, like
serious.
everything in the world is fucking abuse to a female at this goddamn point, right?
Pretty much.
Like, yeah, like like yeah. Here, let me tell you this situation, right? So like this broad was like a fucking OnlyFans bitch, you know what I'm saying, with like a following of, you know what I'm saying, like fucking 10,000 simps or whatever the case might have been, right? She was out here showing her pussy to everybody. And this dude fucked this bitch and knocked her the fuck up, right? And like, so all right, he fucked this bitch, knocked her the fuck up. And so, like, I mean, now they was trying to form some weird type of relationship or whatever, right? I mean, because
Okay.
he's like 34, she's 19, right? You know what I'm saying? And like,
What
she's
was he doing
pregnant.
with a 19-year-old?
So, like, yo, nigga, fucking, what would you do with a 19-year-old, son?
I'm not
Like, the
trying
only
to
thing you can
generally
do
be
with
with
them
a
is fuck,
19-year-old.
right? Like, the only thing you can do is fuck a 19-year-old female. You can't
Exactly.
talk to him. You know what I mean? Right? Like,
Most of them, I've tried with someone even under 25. Generally, I don't even entertain them most of the time
I
because
don't
it's
entertain
not
shit
even
under
worth it.
30, man. Yeah, I don't
I
entertain
know.
nothing
I'm
under 30.
mainly with older chicks at this point because it's and even them it's problems. Like my most recent ex was 36, so it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of on that fucking level of where, all right. So anyway, so he got with this fucking 19-year-old bitch and he cut her off the social media and shit, took her cell phone away, the whole nine, right? Which is
Stupid.
probably that's the best thing you can do for a relationship, right? Legit.
Stupid. Because
Why?
she's gonna wonder. Stupid. It's just stupid. You do not try to force a female to do shit. Stupid.
Well, no. If you take away her options, you know what I'm saying? Like she turns back into, you know what I'm saying? A fucking savage says, I'm going for younger guys. You're married, nigga. You ain't going for nothing, right? Like, he said, I'm married. Like, I'm like, yeah, you going for younger. Nigga, like, yo, you married and shit. Like, fucking, it is what it is. Savage TV, the vast majority of divorced people I know are fucking millennials. All right. Legit. Like, I just, this weekend, I was dealing with a dude, my fucking, my girl's, fucking cousin, right? This nigga here at, I think he's probably like maybe 29, 30 years old, something like that, right? yo, Savage, I feel you. We'll get back to that in a second, right? So like this dude's 29, 30 years old, and about 5-6 years ago, he was in a major car crash, right? Where like he had to put like his motherfucking shit back together. You know what I mean? He had to put his like whole body back together, the whole nine, right? Like he had to fucking put his pins and screws in his feet. You know what I mean? Like motherfucking his head had to be like fucking stitched back together and shit, right? Like, yo, Savage, I feel you. I always keep a guma. I get where you are, right? Now, no, I got babies' moms, nigga. Like, I have bitches I've been fucking since like fucking the 90s and shit. Anyway, fucking like, all right. So this dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, he fell into that depression and shit from all that nonsense and realizing his mortality and going through all that bullshit or whatever. And, you know what I mean, quit his fucking job and, fucking went through all the bullshit you go through when you have a fucking problem and shit, right? And so, therefore, and like, yo, his girl got sick of shit and decided that she was going to take the kids and move to Florida, right?
Sounds about right.
And so, like, fucking, she's like, you can come, you can not, whatever. And so, like, he packs all the shit up, sells their fucking crib, the whole nine, whatever, right? And they get like about like down to Virginia, you know what I'm saying? And he turns it around and heads back to the crib. She follows him back. And this nigga comes home, starts fucking a new bitch, go gets his hair cut, puts on a fresh pair of motherfucking boots, you know what I'm saying? Starts putting in some job applications and decides that he's gonna motherfucking get his fucking head right. You know what I'm saying? And like everybody's standing here going like, oh, I can't believe this guy. No. And I'm like, this nigga just hit reboot on his life. All right. Like
that means she was part of the problem then. Because any woman who encourages a man to be better, he don't do that shit. Dead serious. That's how it works.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yo, he had to fucking stand here and hit reboot on his life.
Yep.
And I've done this before. Like, sometimes you gotta like leave your relationship, leave your job, make a move. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking change what you doing. Like, and I be telling niggas like, yo, if you in like a deep ass depression, you all fucked up. Like, nigga, just go get a shower. Like, yo, shave.
Yep.
You know, get your goddamn haircut. Put on some decent.
Go
clothes.
out.
You know what I mean?
Actually, get outside the damn house. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I go out to karaoke. Sometimes I don't even feel like being around people. I intentionally put myself in a new environment to uplift my spirits. Or I start talking with people that I'm good with and they get my mind right. You feel me?
Yeah.
I'm able to talk about life.
I feel you. Like a long time ago, like when I was a kid, I learned how to recognize when I was falling into my bullshit. Right. You know what I mean? Right? Like, you have to recognize in yourself when you fall into your bullshit and pull yourself out, because there's not going to be a lot of people who are going to do it for you. You know what I'm saying? And especially like when you want a path like mine, where like, I'm doing shit that nobody else is doing. You know what I mean? Like I went and got my CDL. I'm driving around the fucking country. I'm out here doing what I do. So like, and if I fall into my bullshit, there's nobody to rescue me. It's just me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right.
That's most men. That's why a lot of men turn to substance abuse. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, like again, that's part of that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like I fall into alcoholism or something like that. You know what I mean? And I recognize when I'm getting on that level, when I'm drinking too much or I'm fucking eating too much or I'm being lazy. Yep. I know that I'm getting to that point where there's something wrong in my fucking life and I need to start working on some shit. Right. And that's an important thing to recognize. And a lot of dudes don't have this trait down pat yet. But honestly, they have to like stand here and start having training to get to this level.
You know where that comes from, though? I'm gonna be honest with you from my background, because I was gonna say it, a lot of women, and there's some women who actually have a similar. Here's the honest to God truth, and this is why part of the reason people talk about divorce rates and on the rise and shit. It's simple to me. Okay, did you have a good family background? Period. And here's why I said it. And I'm also coming from the dating game and otherwise. Here's why. Because I would consider myself, yes, I have my own emotional and mental bullshit that I deal with, but in health wise and otherwise. But I have a good family background. My pops and my mom, they're 39 years married together, been together. Got my family still together and da da da. And you know, it wasn't one of those lifeless marriages. They were great examples. I've known a number of couples. You feel me? 10,
Right.
15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I had a lot of great examples of what a relationship looks like. A lot of people don't. They come from broken homes. And especially, you know, and the impact of the father, the dad in the lives and whatever. I know you talk about it often, but there's aspects that people don't understand about it. You know this because you have kids. The
Yeah.
first example of a man for the boy and the girl, and it's essential for both. For the sons, the first role model, what kind of man should I be? For the girls, what kind of man should I choose? Nobody wants to talk about that though. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, it's not just that, right? It's there's a lot of parts of that go with like fucking what I mean, self-respect. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that a lot of motherfuckers is missing. You know what I
Fact.
mean?
Facts.
Like it did, like real shit. Like, how do I put this? All right, so my father, right? I remember like he wasn't around when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like fucking like my mom and dad split up when they were 5, and it wasn't my pop's fault, right? It was my mom's,
Right.
because my mom was a
Right.
spoiled fucking brat,
There you
right?
go.
But you know, what I mean, okay, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that aspect later, right? I'm not actually, we're not even going to deal. I don't even care about that aspect at the moment. This is a story about something else. He moved in with this bitch on a farm, right? And he had this beautiful 15-acre farm with a pond out back, horses, donkeys, chickens, you know what I'm saying, the whole nine. It was beautiful, right? I fucking stood here and watched him give this up. And it was something he loved having. It was something he loved doing. He loved being on the land. There was no point in his life where he was better off than when he was on that farm. He wasn't drinking all the time. He wasn't fucking standing here doing drugs. He wasn't going to the bar.
He had a purpose.
Yeah.
That's why.
And he let that go.
For what?
Because his wife got upset that one of the kids walked towards the goddamn road one time and got out of the house. And she decided that they were going to move to the suburbs.
How the fuck is she making a unilateral decision? This is the shit that happens with a lot. Part of the reason a lot of my breakups happen because a chick makes a unilateral decision, not my decision. This is the shit. It's people. Y'all, I know y'all say like, oh, it's because women have rights. No. It's because of lack of accountability. It's the same thing with policia and otherwise. People aren't held accountable for. I'm huge about personal accountability, personal responsibility, and consequences. People just aren't held accountable. Back in the day, why were there less divorces in general, except for Hollywood? Why? Because there was fucking consequences when you divorce somebody. A lot of people just separated, but they didn't divorce. Why? Because they knew what the fucking anybody at any given time. There's no fucking consequences, except destruction of family.
Yeah. And like and there's no consequences for the female, right? And we've allowed that to become a thing. And Moonbase Radio,
except for some that get screwed over.
Talking about, my nigga, like you said,
some females get screwed over. I have some female friends that get screwed over, but that's about it. You know,
like fucking like what the world talking to you, my nigga? Tom, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Anyway, right? Like and like this is the thing with my pops is like I had to learn self-respect elsewhere, right? Like I had to go. I learned self-respect from the street. Like that's how I learned my self-respect. And it was the years of taking those ass whoopings and shit. You know what I mean? And having, oh, this nigga bounced, right? He'll be back, right? Like it was the years of taking those ass whoopings that really got you to the level of where like you had to struggle for your life, so you appreciated it more, right? And that's fucking important and shit, right? At the end of the day. Matt Moonbase, I don't know. Yeah, legit. Like, nah, like, cause I'm in some bullshit right now on the motherfucking internet and whatnot. The second, so like, you know what I mean? I was wondering, like, I ain't heard nobody say no shit yet, but like, I know niggas is gonna be talking. Like, it is what it is. Anyway, you there, man?
Yeah. I'm there. Fucking notifications. You good?
All right. Anyway, right? Yeah, like fucking you can't change your goddamn screen if you're on your phone and shit.
I didn't even mean to.
Yeah, like yo, you got to stay on this motherfucker as long as you rocking. Like, you can't even
God
shut the fucking
damn.
screen off and try to save your battery and shit, or like
The
not have your shit
fuck, bro.
like overheat and explode in your hand. Like I feel where you are, right?
I
Anyway,
had I
like
had to get home to fucking get my charger because I know what's going on. Like they're trying to say it's too much juice. Man, get the fuck out of here. We're in 2020. Get this. Y'all need to fix y'all shit. It's what they need to do.
yo,
Fix
bruh,
your
like man, I'm gonna tell you like this, like fucking Comcast is fucking cranking down. Like they said, everybody that lives in the Northeast, they're gonna start capping everybody's data and shit,
Bro,
right?
Comcast is on that bullshit because I think I had Comcast for a little bit. I couldn't even get back into an account to pay my fucking bill, bro. It was yo, I think it was Comcast because I had some like Wi-Fi or some shit. The shit was shitty half the time, and it's like, what the fuck, bro? I had to end up changing. Like, yo, it was problems. So I probably still have a bill that I haven't paid, but I'm like, fuck it, y'all fucked me over. If it gets paid, I'll be like 5 years down the line because y'all fucked with me. Y'all didn't want to communicate with me. They kept sending me, well, you have a bill. You have a bill. Motherfucker, how about you call me? How about you be a person?
Nah, yo,
You ain't getting paid
Xfinity is
shit. Like it was
notoriously
supposed to
hard.
be auto pay, right, for my account. But then it didn't like I think I like missed one and it didn't like no one called me. No one did shit. All right, that's y'all little fucking loss. Dumbass.
What? That's just like ever since the coronavirus, all of a sudden, like the cell phone companies,
Yep.
you know how like everybody's like, we have unlimited data, talk and text, and all this bullshit. Yo, man, they've been throttling the fuck out of my shit the past 5, 6 months.
I have Metro. I don't have these problems personally. I've had Metro for like 7, 8 years. I don't have these problems. It is unlimited. I pay fifty
Yo,
dollars a month. That's it.
how much data do you use?
At like I if I'm watching Netflix, I get to like, and I just use data. I get to like 50, 60 gigs.
Oh, for real, man? Like, yo, because I hit 35 and them niggas turn it down to the point where YouTube stops working.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to slow, but Metro because it's connected with T-Mobile. Yeah, I pay $50. Like I've never bought a phone. Like dudes, all these out here wasting money. I've never bought a phone more than 180 after tax. I don't pay because I don't need all the extra shit. I get mid-level smartphones. They do plenty more than I need.
Yeah. Like I got I bought the LG Stylo 6 and shit here
Nice,
recently. Right. Yeah, it's the
nice.
first fucking new phone I bought in like 3 years. Right. Like I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get something decent and shit. I don't know.
I got the Moto E6. It was good. Shit was good. Like it was like right there before 5G, in which I pretty much multiple months before they started talking about 5G. I'm like, yo, when is 5G? And the same thing happened with 4G LTE. I'm always ahead of the curve because I noticed like I'll start having lags in my data and shit. I'm like, they need to update this shit. And then lo and behold, within like 3 to 6 months, maybe a year, shit gets updated. I'm like, thank you. People are like, I don't want 5G. It's got all these problems. Dude, what? Y'all crazy as hell. I haven't even had it yet. Y'all crazy as hell. With
All
as
right,
much
so
data as shit's running? Come on.
yeah. Yo, man, yo, it's fucking retarded. And just like that fucking like I use mobile data or mobile Wi-Fi to like,
Right.
do this shit on my streams on I'm on the road and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's it's fucking like yo, it's retarded at this point. Like fucking it's like 12 gigs I get. Like, to
Yep.
be in order to fucking use my shit for YouTube for the month. And I usually don't run over that. I'm usually cool.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, so like yo, we were supposed to have a conversation. You wanted to talk about
Yeah,
specialists
yeah, I
versus
definitely wanted to talk about it. And I mentioned the other day to you about the whole architect shit. You and I, we're all the same thing. We just come from different schools of thought, and we're at different points. Because you were talking about like law enforcement and shit, and I agree with you. My whole thing is about like it's the those who pull the strings behind the scenes because they're the ones who set up the operation and keep it going.
well,
Because
okay,
without them, you ain't got shit.
here's my thing, right? Like I don't
Right.
even think that's the fucking deal, right? Like I don't
Okay.
think that like the people that pull the strings are the individuals who set shit the fuck up. Like I think they're taking advantage of a system that they inherited, right?
Oh, I agree with them. No. I'm saying it's both. You have the originals, the original ones who set, and then they groom individuals to take over for them. That's how it's always been for the last 10,000 years. Look throughout every people quote unquote great civilization. Y'all were talking about that shit. I think was it last night or the night before? You had a like
Yeah,
3 hour stream.
yeah.
And there's a number of times with the number ones, I'm like, I'm listening and I'm loving it, but I wish I could get in because I love history. And there's a lot of stuff that dudes don't understand about the intricacies of power that I would love to talk about. Like I know you love Machiavelli's The Prince. He
Yeah.
talks about this. Sun Tzu's The Art of War talks about this. There's Plato's The Republic, which I disagree heavily with Plato, but he talks about this. They're all talking about power. Al Capone understood power. Alexander the Great understood power. Genghis Khan and many more. Napoleon, they understood power. The Freemasons, the Masons, I give a lot of credit. A lot of people don't understand where things went wrong with the United States. It was supposed to, it was the American experiment is it was the Mason experiment. When the Masons were pushed out of power, and you can say, well, weren't there still Masons left? Yes and no. A lot of people don't know the history of the Masons. They were booted from the real power players. And so when you don't have the people who set up the game, it's like anybody who makes a sport. And then let's say somebody comes over and is like, yeah, well, we don't want to play it the way that you do. But he's like, no, I set up the game of how it's supposed to be played. But we don't like the way that you play it. You're going to have an inferior version. Same thing with the mafia. When you took out the Dons, what happened?
Everything fucking fell to shit.
That's what I mean by those in positions of power. When you have incompetent, incapable people, this is part of the reason why I'm an anarchist, because of the value of leadership. It goes into everything: the home, school, education, politics, economics, etc. When you have incompetent, incapable people, especially men, you have this bullshit. People talk about, oh, women have this, da da da. It's because you have incompetent and incapable men in positions of power who allow for this bullshit. It's simple. I put the onus on men.
Here's the thing, right? You know what I'm saying? Like fucking. All right, so hang on. First off, I got a motherfucking. I gotta hand this nigga a wrench real quick. Fucking Donnie Trumptastic, welcome, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the motherfucking chat gets a goddamn wrench. All right, so I'm not a fan of anarchism, right?
Well, what do you mean by anarchism? Because most people don't even understand it properly, honestly.
Well, like, all right, so here's my thing. I understand the need for a state, right?
Why is there a need for a state?
Well, because, all right, so the very basics of society, right? The very basics of all civilization as a whole, right? Is it was formed like the state in general was formed naturally, right? It's a natural response. Yes, it was. It was a natural response, right? It was a natural response to needing to fucking protect yourself from outside powers, right? That was the natural, and like it predates like real civilization. Like even in like hunter gatherer fucking tribes, they still have a hierarchical structure, and they still fucking, you know what I mean, like work towards self-defense and work towards the defense of the individuals who they leave when they go on hunts, right?
See, here's where I'll disagree with you. And people, the Italians, that's your ancestry. Yeah. They developed differently than a lot of groups of people. When you look back, why is there a state? Protection of the aristocracy. It had nothing to do with the people. Now, when you talk about leadership, I, as an anarchist, here's the funny part about it, and most people don't quite understand it. We don't really give a damn which structure it is. Most of us. Some of them are a bit more, depends on which school of thought you're in. But for me, if even a dictatorship, quote unquote monarchy, democracy, whatever the community decides, I always say community. Why? Because when you start getting bigger, and I'm anti-civilization because it stagnates and it doesn't progress. When you get away from the roots of what humanity is, I'm not saying people can't work together. I'm not saying alliances and confederations aren't fun. You can have all that. When you introduce a state structure, when you introduce a stagnant hierarchy, you get all the bullshit that we deal with. Leadership should be fluid. It shouldn't be this stagnation. Because you get a political class, which you complain about. Everything that libertarians complain about is because of the fucking state. All the unnecessary wars, all the corruption, all the robbery, all your urbanization bullshit is because of a fucking state. Period.
Oh, I realize this, right? Like, I get what you're saying, right? Like, I hate government, right? I do.
Exactly.
I fucking hate
That's why I'm an anarchist.
but there's a necessity for defense.
I
Right?
agree. You can have a defense, but you don't need a fucking state to have a fucking defense.
You have to have the ability to tax individuals to pay
Why do
for
you?
defense.
You can fucking a community. Okay, here's where I guess I respect humanity. I respect men and women with the ability of logic, reason, and moral thinking. The ability of critical thinking. Right.
Right.
We need to protect ourselves. Here's the thing. All right. There's three ways to look at this. Number one, we need to defend ourselves. Train people, just like the ancient Spartans. You train people to defend themselves. That's point number one. Point number two, alliances. Just like any nations, just like it's always the Game of Thrones, right? It's always power. So you can get allies.
But that's not the deal, right? That's not the deal at all,
Okay.
right? What the problem is it's the reformations of militaries in the 1890s, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so there was a point in the 1890s, right, where there's a split between militaries, right?
Okay.
Where militaries were pretty much evenly matched. Like you could take a military from 1400s, right, and put it up against a military in the 1890s, and it would still rock. You know what I'm saying? Like it would still be
almost any era could rock any era as long as they were somewhat technologically comparable. I mean, the key emphasis,
right?
As long as they were somewhat technologically comparable.
Well, this is the thing. Technologically fucking comparable is a it's an actual measure, right?
Right.
So once you got to the 1890s, right?
Right.
You'll give everyone guns and tanks. Well, here's the thing, Donnie Trumptastic. You gotta build guns and tanks. Is the problem?
You have to be trained. I don't care who has guns. If you don't have training and resolve, you're screwed.
Well, no. Like, here's the thing. So, like, if you didn't keep up with military, right? Like, okay, so after the 1890s, let's get to this point, right?
Right.
So, a World War II, all right, a World War II military group, right? Legit, call it a platoon or fuck whatever, right? A battalion would annihilate an entire country's shit in the World War I.
How big of a platoon are we talking about?
Well, it'd be like 10-1 odds, and the fucking World War II military would whoop that ass.
No, I'm saying what is the size of the platoon that we're talking about?
I don't fucking know. Like fucking say like 5,000 men, some shit like that. Whatever.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Yeah, if it's that many, okay. Because if we're only talking about like 50, 100, 200 people, no. If you're talking 5,000, absolutely. But I mean, you could say that in any era. For example, a raid of 5,000.
No, you can't.
No, I was going to say hear me out though. A raid of 5,000 Mongol troops versus, let's say, 50,000 hoplites. I'm taking the Mongols. I'm taking the Mongols.
No, I'm taking the hoplites all day, and it's that's an easy one. Why? Because their phalanx was fucking ridiculous. Do you know the
technology that the Mongols had?
Yeah, the bows and arrows and shit.
Well, it wasn't just bows and arrows.
And horseback.
It's also their tactics, though. It was their tactics. It was their. Here's the thing: the phalanx works because of, and I love the phalanx. The problem is it is limited. It is very, very limited. That's why the Romans got away from the phalanx.
Okay.
Because of how limited it is in various terrains. But anyways, that's a whole different
but anyway, right? Like here's the point, okay?
Mm.
The Greeks and the Romans were evenly matched, right?
Right.
You know, even though literally there's fucking, 800, 900 years worth of fucking technological history between them, right?
Right.
I mean, the Persians matched up against the Romans, all of them, they were all pretty the same, right?
Right.
And all of them legitimately could bang with a Civil War battalion, right?
I would disagree.
No.
Disagree.
No, because the weapons were not repeating yet.
No. Here's why I disagree. Because by the time you have the Civil War, you would make an argument if you said the Revolutionary era. Actually, here's why I say the beginnings, not what I understand what you mean by 1890s, but the beginnings of modern is the Civil War. By that time, you have the Gatling gun, you're having mortars, you're having what the steel, the steel boats that I'm talking about, not the above water, but the kind of mid water, almost submarine shit. You just the rifle, you had rifles by that point. You had all kinds of shit. It was a different ball game by the time you get to the Civil War. They would
Okay.
destroy.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. Because, like, in the 14s and 1500s, they had rifles and, well, not
No,
rifles.
they didn't.
Had
They did not have
shotguns.
rifling.
They had shotguns. Like, they had smooth.
Very rudimentary. Very
Yeah, so
rudimentary.
they had smooth bore fucking
Right.
firearms.
Which isn't
right?
the same as rifling. Rifling changed the game.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, right? All these militaries, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you could stay in the game by buying weapons and, you know what I mean, updating tactics, right? But after the 1890s, you literally had to invest in military technology to stay fucking afloat with other fucking countries.
And to your point, the average citizen is part of the reason why the American revolutionaries were able to compete with the largest, most powerful empire at the time in the British Empire, because the firearm technology was relatively the same, honestly.
Well, that's kind of the
civilians could get.
That's kind of the point. We can no longer, like, as citizens, we can no longer conduct a proper war against the military.
No, hell no, no.
Like, yo,
a group of five. I just always put it this way: a group of 5 armed men, like, you would need 100 to 1,000 regular citizens just to be able to compete with a group of 5 regular army soldiers. I'm not even talking about special ops shit.
Yeah, I feel you.
Unless you're dealing with special men who are just capable guys.
Here's the thing. All right, so you could still compete with military soldiers using the proper tactics, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like sitting up on ridges, you know what I mean, popping niggas the fuck off, things of this fucking nature.
Explosive IEDs, all that good shit.
Right. Well, like because Iraq does it, guerrilla warfare still works, right?
Yep.
But when we're talking about actually conducting military action, like, yo, they'll drone strike you, and you won't even fucking see the fucking drone.
They don't even need to drone strike your ass. I mean, the fact that we have tanks.
No, they do. Tanks can't go everywhere. He came out with
right. Tanks are actually logistically they're a nightmare. You need supply lines. You need all sorts of nonsense to actually maintain tanks.
But you're missing the point about tanks. What the reason people got to understand human psychology. Okay, human psychology.
I feel you there, but you're an anarchist talking about human psychology, so I'm going to go ahead and take your whatever you say with a grain of salt.
Wait. Just because I have a different political philosophy doesn't mean I don't understand human psychology.
Yes, absolutely. Because
wait.
If you don't believe in hierarchy, you are.
Wait, who said I didn't believe in hierarchy? That's not.
No. Not too long ago.
That's not what I said.
All right. So you're going to get a state naturally from basic human organizations. It's going to happen. Because
I didn't say anything about hierarchy. I said shit should be fluid and there shouldn't be a state because the state stagnates things. I didn't say anything anti-hierarchies inherently.
Right. Hierarchies cement themselves into states.
They don't. They don't have to.
Yes, they do. You go back 100 years. What do you find? States. You go back.
They were already set into place, man.
States.
They were already set into place.
What do you find? States.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Here's where I point out the history, right? All right. So when you start talking about states, they evolve naturally. Oh, there goes BB. Fucking hang on, I'll add you in, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You know I'm always down for having a conversation with you. By the way, I'm in Tennessee, my nigga. Like, yo.
Ooh, shit. I love Tennessee. Tennessee's great.
Yeah, man. I'm hanging out. I'm down by Lebanon, Tennessee.
Dude, the fuck? Why didn't you fucking call me earlier? You know I'm ain't doing shit during the day. Me and my fucking son would have brought out the fucking weapons and shit. And we could have gone blowing shit up. What you do with your life?
Well, I was busy working earlier, you know what I mean? Like, I actually had shit to do. And on top of that, I was at an Amazon warehouse that had a cell phone jammer. So That was a fun 2 hours of not having a fucking phone.
I
But,
know
okay,
exactly where the fuck you're at then. Yeah, fucking Amazon, stupid fucking cunts. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Anyway, right. So, fucking the states were not fucking inherently there, right? States. How do I put this? States fluidly become a thing, right? And that's the problem. And then they fucking end up growing. It's natural in every society because of the fact that you have to organize logistics to be able to feed human beings and massive quantities of human beings as a whole. Like states naturally become like it's not something that we try to do, right? Like it's something that just happens. Right?
No, I would argue that people, because, and it's like what we have today, because you're big about self-sufficiency, being able to provide. It's because of convenience. The same thing of why cities form, convenience. People like convenience. And you say this especially with women, like convenience. They want to feel protected. They want to feel rather than what it is and what it ain't.
That's part of kind of the momentum of what's going on there. But the other thing that you've got to realize is that once you have a hierarchy, you're eventually like hierarchies grow until they become an organization, and they continue to grow until they butt up against an organization that can contest its power, basically. And it's a pretty basic principle. Go ahead.
Or like the Bronze Age collapse, where like they can no longer feed the organization.
Yeah, putting aside the cases where, you have infighting or some sort of systemic collapse or whatever type of thing that it was built on just collapses in underneath itself. If you have an organization, if you have a power structure, then it's going to keep growing until it knocks up against something.
If people allow shit to
no, like
it's about checks and balances. People have to be willing to fight for their own liberty.
Listen to me, dude. It is a moral good for the leader of that organization to expand his organization's power.
Why?
Because I will explain why. Say it's, me, Penoid, and Bearded Bastard. We've got our own little organization going. We've somehow managed to fuck off into the middle of the woods where nobody's got a claim. All right. As soon as that happens, there's going to be some sort of hierarchy, and I'm not going to lie, Penoid's probably going to be at the top of it because he just slapped me upside the head because I'm a nerd.
But like, see, here's the thing.
I'm watching the fucking trees, Penoid. You know how fucking crazy military people are.
I know.
But the thing is, the more you grow,
automatically be delegation.
The more you grow your institution's power. Sorry, Penoid.
Delegation and competency will end up motherfucking holding on to leadership as a whole.
I think the big point, though, especially if you have a small, very small structure, but like, and given the example of TK, Penoid, and myself in the woods, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna fucking delegate shit. Like, hey, are you good at fucking farming? Are you smart about this shit? Because I might not know shit about it, but if you could fucking do it, all right, I'm good at fucking hunting. Let me go kill some shit. You give me some fucking crops. Like, we'll work as a fucking commune at that point, and there's no exact leadership. But when it gets to a larger number, that's when you start to get power struggles between individuals.
The show Survivor validates what you're saying. You can say it's a game show, but it just shows it, because as soon as they get on the island or wherever the fuck they are, can you do this? Can you do that? What are you capable of? And everybody else goes and does the other task. It's when you have this sedimentary state, that's when you get these problems.
You're right and you're wrong there, because like once you have a power structure established, the more power that structure allocates to itself, the better. And I know you're going to jump all over that, but it's a pretty simple concept here. The more power that thing has, the more you can do for yourself and for the people underneath you.
But it's about math, though, right? It's about math.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, it's about math. So like, okay, so Now, once you go from us four, we all have bitches, and then we have like, I'll have 75 kids, and BB will have like 3, and then TK Mal might make 2, right? And like, so all of a sudden now we have 100 motherfucking people to feed, right?
Okay.
And then after that 100, there's going to be, 1,000 people, and then 2,000, and 3,000, and 4,000, and 5,000 people, right? Now,
Right.
once you have them 5,000 people to feed, right, you're going to have people whose sole job it is to give out food and
Right.
to regulate and to watch the crops and to stand here and do defense and to move things around and to stand here and collect motherfucking waste and to help fucking run irrigation. So like this
Right.
is where the state becomes a thing, because ultimately, like, yeah, you can have farmers pay people for irrigation, but then like the farmers are gonna have to also pay people, or people are gonna have to pay for transportation for the food, and then like you're gonna need fucking structures for this, then you're gonna need roads, and then you're gonna need houses, and then you're gonna need waste facilities, you're gonna need ways to deal with shit, right? And this is where the state becomes a thing. It's just a numbers game eventually, right? Because it's not like you just have a community of 10 people forever, right? Because the community of 10 people will either be joined by other communities, be taken over by other communities, or will breed itself into the point where it's thousands of people.
Right.
Here's
at
but
that point,
this
the more power that power structure allocates to itself, the more privileges and rights and trinkets and food that it can allocate to its citizens. So, like, you got to understand that you don't get just all of a sudden a sedentary state. What happens is people take short steps and incremental steps, and each one of them is morally justifiable. So if you want to go in and say all of this is wrong after the fact, then you're going to be
Here's the
as
problem, sir. You're making multiple assumptions about my position and don't know my position.
you
Okay,
said you're an anarchist. And
yes, and again, you don't know my position. Clearly, you don't know my position because you've not spoken with me. Here's the thing. Here's how civilizations, you want to talk about the building of civilizations and the sedimentary steps. I studied this. This is how they build.
Can
You
I
go from the
interrupt you?
hunter-gatherer.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to be clear, can you define anarchy in your terms and what you believe in, so that way it's very clear to him your position, so that way nothing gets misconstrued?
Absolutely. Anarchism. In short, because there are no less than 10 schools of different thoughts. And yes, they differ greatly. It's an umbrella term. But pretty much no big brother. No to where each individual has a say. But as well as the community. Each community should decide for itself how it wants to govern. If you want a fucking democracy, if you want a republic, if you want a dictatorship, if you want a fascist regime, if you want whatever the fuck you want, each community and people should have a say. No national borders, because they're artificial, inorganic, and just made up, honestly. And there's more in depth that I can get into, but it doesn't mean that I'm opposed to structures of leadership. That's not what I'm opposed to. What I say is that when I'm talking about the state, is it's something that gets too big and it doesn't do its damn job. It's a bloated bureaucracy. When you look at the history of civilization, it's very simple. You go from hunter-gatherers, right? And you go into tribes. Now, not everybody advances, quote unquote, advances on the same footsteps. Oh. After tribes, then you get into villages. Some people stop there. After villages, you get into towns. Some stop there. Then you get into cities. Some stop there. Then you get into city states. And after city states, you start to get into kingdoms and empires, into mega nations, which are very much of a modern phenomenon, by the way. So no, this stuff isn't inherent. It's built over time because of different circumstances.
Wait,
so
wait a minute.
You got.
Like, can I correct some of your history real quick?
Go ahead.
Like, Osiris the Great was further away from Cleopatra than we are to her now.
Sure.
Right. I mean, like, you do understand that, like, the ancients had massive civilizations and kingdoms. It's not a modern phenomenon. That's something that happened
No. I said the nation states is a modern phenomenon. That's what I was talking about.
The nation state, like, legitimately, like, Persia was a nation state.
It was
Samaria
an empire.
was a nation state. Right?
They were
empires. But it was a nation state, though.
But they weren't, though. There's a difference between a nation state and an empire. It's a huge difference.
What's the difference?
An empire, first of all, kingdoms, nation states, and empires. Kingdoms are, and you can correct me if you have a better definition. Kingdoms are simply a singular essence that has pretty much a sphere of influence that it has control over, economically, politically, socially, etc. An empire and imperialism goes out and it's a takeover, it's conquest. Nations are fascinating. And nation states are very, very fascinating. When I talk about a modern, you don't really see nation states until the 18th century, honestly. Everything was empires and kingdoms.
Could you go ahead and define what a nation is, or what you think a nation is, just so I've got a context for it? Because my understanding of a nation is from its root word, which is natale, which is, from birth or from family. So just go ahead and explain that real quick for me, if you could.
Is it just me or do you robot the fuck out?
He roboted
it out for me too. All right, as long as it wasn't just me.
Well, and my question is something like, what do you define America as, an empire or a nation? In the modern terms, where does he see that? And I think that would help define it as well.
Well, America is a nation, right? We're not an empire. We don't have colonies, right? Like an empire has colonies and shit.
I mean,
right?
I personally would define America as a union of nations. There are probably no less than 3 nations, if you are going back to the definition from the Latin roots there. But that's me being autistic.
I mean, like, are you talking about like the fucking the Navajo nations and things of this nature?
No, nation comes from the root word natale, which means from birth. So basically, a nation is a group of people who are interrelated. Right. It's basically like one level up from a clan.
Pretty much.
As far as
actually, no, it's 2 levels, because you have the tribe after the clan, then you have a nation after a tribe.
Well, you have a city state in there. There's a couple other fucking joints.
Well, the city. Well, you can have a nation. For example, you can have a nomadic nation, or you could have a nation of raiders. You could have a nation of a lot of things. But a city state, again, that goes into the structure of sedimentarism.
I mean, because
I'm not trying to be condescending when I ask you this. Have you read A Short History of Man by Hans Hermann Hoppe?
Hans Hermann Hoppe?
Yeah.
You can't say I recognize the author's name.
You should definitely read that.
Why?
It kind of goes, just because it goes through like some of the historical stuff that you're going through. And he actually agrees with you on like the first couple of steps there, but then they diverge off there a little bit. And basically the idea is that his kind of he is actually he's famous for founding an ideology kind of called Hoppian libertarianism, which is basically for neo-feudalism ish.
Well, we have neo-feudalism, so that's fascinating.
Well,
in a little bit different type of way, except you actually have very, very strong borders and you physically remove communists. Those are the major two divergence from our particular setup here. And there are a couple other things. Basically, the idea is that if you actually have a family in power instead of elected leaders, then you have people who have a vested interest in actually keeping the nation or the state, whichever you want to pick or choose at here,
like
in order.
I think like when you're talking about a nation, right? A nation kind of goes hand in hand with like a people, like, all right, so it's a group of individuals who have a culture, heritage, who have a similar culture, heritage, and
Correct.
race,
Yes, usually yes.
right? Which is where it gets into like the birth thing and all that type of shit. You know what I mean? Like that's where like all that comes from. So like if you have a certain heritage by birth, you come from a nation, I'm pretty sure.
I think this
Yeah,
is more of a discussion of human psyche and how we interact than it is about different political leanings or ideologies.
But they
Well,
all
no,
tie
right.
into one another, actually.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, like
You're
here's
not
the
wrong.
thing, right? So like, all right, so so the idea of a nation is that the people who come from there have a shared culture, history, and racial identity, right? That tends to be how that's why the birth thing started.
Super racial, but like on some level, for example, like Aryans, that includes like the German, the British, and all that kind of nonsense. But you're not wrong.
I was going to bring up the push in the 19th century for the Italian states to come together in the German states.
I mean, but we could also look at how many people classify themselves as Irish American, Italian American, this
Right.
kind of American, instead of just American. I know I refer to myself quite often as Italian American because, you know, my fucking grandparents came over on the fucking boat and whatnot. So we don't, when you say nation and the birth of it, like, yes, I was born in America, but do I really hold that American as above my prior, heritage? No. My prior heritage comes first, so that's where I can see that argument getting convoluted.
I agree with
You're
you
not
because
wrong.
I hear this, oh, we're all just Americans, and I constantly ask people because what the fuck does that even mean? I'm Black American. I'm Black first. Like, I can't separate my ancestry and what I look like from that shit. Like, it's just who I am. It's a part of my culture, my family, my background, and everything. It's not me making it racial. It's just who I am. Like, fuck.
I feel you, and I have a similar type of thing where I define myself personally as a Kansan because it's a specific amalgamation of different specific racial backgrounds,
Right.
mostly white, although, you've got the exception up there in Nicodemus. And it's its own thing. Like, we've got the Volga Germans in one place, we've got the Mennonites in another place. We've got all this stuff, and it makes its own thing. And I don't try to take anyone else's stuff away from them. It's just like, this is mine. But the thing there is that Americans is a distinct thing because, with the exception of, some specific ethnicities like the Irish becoming indentured servants, with the blacks being slaves, yada, yada, yada. Like, there's a laundry list of people who came here because they didn't want to. And of course, history won't necessarily list all of those out there because...
Pretty much every group of people, actually. If you really boil it down to it, yeah. Every group, unless you were Anglo, Franco, and Serb-Germanic, you were screwed over at one point in American history.
You're not wrong, but there's also the point where once you were in the East, the people who chose to go west.
Right. Right.
I don't know if you've ever been to like Nicodemus, Kansas, where I don't know if you know that particular history. It's a black colony in Kansas.
Which is that in the middle of the state, the east or the west part of the state?
That's in the west part of the state.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Yeah, and I do have some particular issues with people bringing up slavery when talking about my ancestry, because like my ancestors fought to free the slaves and died in border wars twice to do that. So
right.
Sensitive subject there. Moving past.
Yeah, I'm not one of those knuckleheads. It's a lot more of a complex history. In fact, I say slavery was not the reason. One definitely wasn't the reason for the Civil War. There were 3 other reasons, but anyways.
Yeah. But moving past that, when you're talking about people actually who went west, that's an additional selection criteria on top of it. So the problem with saying I'm an American is that up until like 50 years ago, we didn't really have telecommunication to the extent we do now. So whenever someone said American, they just projected whatever they had onto that label. And the problem now is that we're trying to make all of that mesh when it shouldn't. We are a republic. We are supposed to be a union of sovereign states, and that's just not what's happening anymore.
But that was
I do agree with you that we need to have more decentralized centers of power. I personally think that we need to have whoever's making decisions close enough to kick.
Well, then we would agree. See, as an anarchist, I'm not trying to push my own views and values. I'm simply saying new alternative system. Whatever you want, it has to be, you have to get towards localization. Because once you, and I've said this, beyond 250,000 people, you can't know anybody. You can't. It's impossible.
I forget what exactly the number is, but there's a pretty hard number on the number of faces that you can remember. I forget the exact term for that, but I think it's like 200 to 400.
Yeah, I disagree with that because of my own, just how many people I personally know. But I get what it's saying, but I'm not saying your personal connection. I'm saying 250,000 people for a plethora of reasons. Beyond that, there is all of the issues that we complain about stem from that. Because once you get beyond 250,000 people, I can know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows me. I'm from a small town, right? And in a county. And if I didn't know somebody or my family didn't know somebody, we had enough connections that it could connect back to us, right? You can know somebody within 250,000 people, or you can know someone who's like, is this person legitimate? Is this person a thief, rapist, et cetera, murderer, whatever, right? You can vet this person. Is this person an idiot, right? You won't get a fucking Joe Biden situation. You won't get a Joe Biden situation if you keep the numbers within reason. So even if we disagree on how to go about stuff, I think everyone in here agrees smaller amounts of power structures. Because once you get into this big power structure, who can fight against that shit? This ain't no rebels versus galactic empire situation.
I feel you, but there's also the point where like this all centralized for a reason, and it's not just stagnation. I mean, a lot of it.
I'm saying stagnation comes from it. I understand the centralization, but then again, if you look at American history, the United States Constitution didn't get ratified. The issues about the states came up in the Civil War. It's come up so many times. It's come up again. It will keep coming up because it's the problem. You still deal with the same problem. Federalism was forced. It wasn't agreed nor adhered to.
Yeah,
no one's ever agreed to federalism.
The anti-federalists were right. I don't know how many times I've said that, but I probably haven't said this on here. The anti-federalists were right. The unfortunate thing is that the Federalists won because we had to deal
Yep.
with the British Empire, which was, if you need a quick history lesson, not necessarily for anybody here, but people
Right.
listening, was the biggest empire history has ever known. The sun
Yep.
literally did not set on that empire. And on top of that, we owed money to every power that was allied against the British Empire. So we had to have some sort of, I don't want to say union, but confederacy at the very least to make it work. I personally think we should have just kept trying to make the Articles of Confederation work.
Oh, they were trash. They were trash. They
Oh.
were never going to work because you had to have unanimous. That is not going to work with people.
Well, okay, here was the problem, and I've been listening to they have on YouTube a bunch of what are they called? Debates between Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, and George Washington, explaining why they did what they did, right? And George Washington put it very succinctly. He said, look, when you ask somebody for charity or for money, right, and they promise you that money, the issue isn't the fact that like you're whether or not you're going to get it. The question is when, right? So if you ask somebody like, if you're Washington, D.C., or if you're Pennsylvania, or if you're Rhode Island, whatever the case might be, and, you're collecting this money to be able to pay this war debt, and you need that money right now in order to pay, a bond or whatever the case might be, and they're dragging their feet on it, not having a federal power to be able to enact even a simple tax to be able to pay for our debts that we had made the Federalist Papers almost fucking useless. And that's why the Constitution and the Bill of Rights were such a fucking necessity.
Right.
Dip, I went ahead and put a link to a short history of man by Hunter Mahaba, the audiobook, in that chat there.
Gotcha.
Yo, I'm gonna have to check that shit out myself, to be honest with you. Fucking Excel's always talking about Hans Hermann Hoppe, and I never fucking I listen to him debate, and he's so fucking boring.
Yeah, I try to. It's like me reading. I love philosophy textbooks, but I don't fucking read them. I usually read the summaries. Why? Because getting through them makes you want to shoot yourself and pull your teeth out. And
I feel
most of them, anyways.
Want a couple hard reads? Legit, Adam Smith's
Fucking Nations.
Yeah, the Wealth of Nations.
I have it right beside me.
That is a hard book to get through. I'll be real.
It's 1,000 pages, bro. I barely cracked it open. And I've had it for like 2 months.
What up, MPJ? How the fuck you doing, man?
A hard sell on Hans Hermann Hoppe is he is a economist and philosopher who is German, who was trained by a Jew. So
Sounds about right.
And ironically enough, the Jew is who taught him to not hate his German heritage.
Sounds about right.
Fuck yeah. PJ Luda, federalism leads to tyranny, and the Confederacy was the best option. It still is. Okay, so again, let's get back to the conversations why Bearded Bastard and TK Mao came in here, right?
Yep.
The need to fucking advance your military every year now to be able to stay up with new technology, to be able to compete with the rest of the world so that you can have self-defense is something that happened in like 1890, and it's just continued on and gotten worse throughout the years.
Why do you say 1890 specifically and not a little before or after? I'm just curious why that. What happened in 1890 specifically?
That's because 1890 is the year that the military picked, right? That's the year that everybody kind of agrees that, it fucking went from being able to, just arm your citizens and train them to having to fucking do like heavy duty amounts of research and development to come up with new technology.
When was two questions? Because they deal with Japan and the United States, because I think it's around the same period. When was the Spanish-American War, and I know the Russo-Japanese, but when did the Japanese modernize their military? Two of those.
1850 through 1910 would be the fucking, well, it's not the Great Leap Forward. It's what the fuck did he take? TK Mao, help me out here. The name for the Japanese Reconstruction.
The border, Matthew, whatever his face is. I know what you're talking about.
Yo, what the fuck was the name of the fucking thing? It was a period.
Great Expansion? Maybe.
Might have been the Great Reformation.
Something like that. The Meiji Reformation.
Yeah, the Meiji Reformation.
1868. 1868 is what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like fucking 1850 through like, and it started. You know what I'm saying? And they fucking redid their whole shit in like 50 years. Right? They redid their whole entire society and everything in this fucking.
They were already modernized, but just hadn't gotten westernized, and that was the complete like. That's why they changed.
Well, what they did was they sent everybody out, right? They sent out like fucking students and spies to all the fucking nations who were doing big things. You know, Russia. You know, what I mean, fucking U.S., Britain, all these fucking places, and brought them back and emulated what, you know, what I mean, the best parts of what they did. What up, BB?
Well, the United States were already as like, y'all are going to open up. So they couldn't. They're like, okay, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. That's always the Japanese way in their minds.
There was the Bakumatsu, and I probably just fucked that up like the gaijin I am. And the end of the Edo period when the shogunate ended, basically. When they stopped being like a feudal system and started a whole bunch of reforms. Not only in the as far as moving over to firearms, but I believe that's also when they had started banning swords and that type of thing, which I find stupid because like if Texas has been able to have swords as long as it's been around, I don't see why Japan couldn't.
No. You don't. Oh, you don't know why they banned swords? It was about control of the populace.
Yeah.
They didn't want the Ronin samurai to wall out and like defy them anymore. It was a crackdown on freedom.
Well, it was more like all right. So Japan was trying to redo its entire society from the ground up, right? Like they were redoing the entire thing, like not just part of it, not just, you know what I mean, like, well, you know, like the military, like, yo, they redid their whole society and took them from being farmers and, you know, fucking like the ancient way of doing things the whole way up to like them fucking, you know what I mean, like being a society where they build, you know what I mean, fucking electronics and all this shit, you know what I mean, inside of like 50 years. They became an industrialized power to the point of where they could conquer the majority of fucking, you know what I mean, East Asia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Years, you know what I mean?
But they practically outlawed the samurai class.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like I get that. I just don't understand why they had to specifically outlaw swords.
Because it was a symbol. Okay, you got to understand the symbol of power that a katana and Naga. It's slipping my mind.
Nagasaki. Something like that.
So what's
like? I feel
in a minute. I study a lot on these facts.
Let's go with the more. Let's go with I was going to say, let's go with a more modern example. Because the Revolutionary War, one of the main, biggest precursors.
That was actually before the Japanese, by the way.
So, one of the reasons why the Revolutionary War really kicked off is because they said, no, you guys can't have any sort of firearms anymore. They buried them out into a fucking farmer's land. British tried to march on it. They took the fucking weapons, unburied them, and started killing motherfuckers left and right. So if they didn't go, no, you can't have these fucking firearms because we need you to be below us. We need to have that power and control over you. That wouldn't have been a main fucking thing to start the Revolutionary War. And also, real quick, 2 reasons why I jumped in here. Number 1, Pinoy talked about repeating weapons, that they weren't really there until the Civil War or after. That's not true. One of the first repeating weapons that we could actually see is a puckle gun.
Revolutionary?
Yes, it was pre-revolutionary. Puckle gun was invented in 1718. So so it's pre-Revolutionary War. Repeating weapons have been around, before that time period. And the other factor of like, could the American people stand up against the military? Abso-fucking-lutely. And a great example of that is Vietnam.
Yeah.
You're not wrong there, but there's also the thing you have to consider where it's not just the military anymore that is super hooked into all of these, like, infrastructure. We're at the point now where a large percentage of the population, not a huge percentage of the rural population, admittedly, is hooked in to very, very brittle infrastructure that hasn't been maintained in decades at this point. Like, if you really want to understand how fragile our communications infrastructure is, try going out like a mile or two out of the city and looking at an internet relay. Like, a lot of times they're held together with barbed wire and duct tape.
That's the thing, though. That's what people are so far away from understanding, is you get a group of individuals who don't really rely on this structure. The military is going to rely on the road system, the bridge system. They're going to have to, if they want to come through into the fucking woods to come get a little commune of fucking militia people, using tanks, strikers, whatever, vehicle that you want to impose, even a Humvee or the newer version, because they're getting away from the Humvees, actually.
Bastard.
But here's the thing. It can be so dense that now they have to come through and they have to clear that area. So now we're going to hear them coming. Communication is shortwave radios. There's different forms of communication. The military relies on what is already prior in place and how they can use that to their advantage. The enemy now, and the big shift went from World War II to the Korean War to Vietnam, and it went to more asymmetrical warfare. Now, when I say that, we're talking about guerrilla warfare. We're talking about mount, which is actual like urban combat settings.
Yep.
And here's the thing. Yes, we do exercises of how to move and maneuver within that, but you have home field advantage. Being the civilian, or not just a civilian, there's a lot of prior service guys like myself that I know if the fucking military mounted up, like, we're going to destroy you, because our ROE is nothing. We have no fucking ROE. We're not going to play by the games of warning shots or anything like that. We're going to fucking kill you. We're going to kill you. We're going to take your shit and we're going to fucking utilize it to make our shit better.
Like,
Well, I got some
feel
things to
you,
say.
but
Let me put this in here real quick, right? My problem comes in with air superiority, right? Because up until, and this again is like that 1890 shit. Like, until like then, there was no way of having any air superiority because there was no aerial attacks. Having the ability to have jets and drones and fucking B-2 bombers, there's no civilian that has this ability at all.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Very positive?
Yes, I am.
Because
there are quite a few drones.
Or second or third largest Air Force is by a guy named like Nick or Bob. Like, just some fucking random dude who's just buying fucking all sorts of shit out there. So you can, I can literally.
He's not actually a random dude. He bought all of that to basically rent them out back to the military to do simulations and stuff. Like he's in a private individual, yes, but it's not like he's an unknown asset to the government.
Well, and even then, okay, I could go out and buy a tank right the fuck now. So could you, Pinoid. So could you, Dip. You could buy a fucking tank. Now, of course, the requirement is that the turret has to be disabled, it has to be non-functional, and all that. But you know how easily you could fucking change that? Like,
Gentlemen.
if you have half a brain with mechanics, and I'm just talking about you're able to change your own oil, you can figure it the fuck out.
And there's always your ability to go full-on killdozer, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God,
bastard. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think I'm between you and Pino. You're correct about the military. You're going up against like some very special ops situations. You're right. I'm not even concerned for those parts unless you're in
No, you're getting absorbed by the Borg.
Yeah, no shit. Like, it sounds like he's making
I'm more
great
concerned about the FBI.
All right, come back when you motherfucking you're good. Anyway, right, fucking
So it sounds like he was talking about he's more worried about the central powers like FBI, NSA, CIA, TIA. Yes.
All right, so MC, MC, I gotta address some of the shit the MC's putting in the chat because legit, he is a military expert, right? Because like I'm pretty sure MC is I think he's like Dan Carlin in disguise, to be perfectly honest.
Well, and I do have to say, MC is more of the old school military strategist. From my talks with him, he's more old school Cold War and understands a lot of that aspect and how we would maneuver and fight. So I really respect his opinion.
I do too, right? I respect the shit out of what he says, right? I always thought MC was like one of the better YouTubers out here, and it's tragic that he only has the subs that he has. But then again, you tied your boat to a sinking ship. I mean, it is what it is. Fucking so.
Fuck you,
nigga. I'm not talking about you, right? It's like, yo.
Oh! I thought you were just trying to get rid of the competition, like motherfucking now.
I wasn't talking about you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about that libertarian nigga. You know what I'm saying? Who fucking says the South will rise again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fucking. Anyway, right. So yeah. All right. Now, here's the thing. MC, I think they are willing to deal with mass fucking casualties because of the fact that even with all these cameras and cell phones and shit, I think they'll just fucking hide it like they do everything the fuck else. Google is getting really good at fucking censoring these fucking videos. Go ahead, DK.
Like, they just hid the fact that they stole a freaking election in front of everyone with, like, stupid numbers of people signing sworn testimony. Like, if you don't think that they can just censor out the truth, then you are absolutely blind.
Well, and these are old tactics on new technology.
You're not wrong, but
that's what's really sad about it.
Yeah.
Is these are old tactics on new technology, and people are so unwilling to look at what's in front of them, and they go, "Oh no, this must be the grander conspiracy."
Well, the problem is that the lesson of history is that nobody learns from history. Like, nobody reads history. Like, do you know the number of people who just give me blank stares when I point out the fact that vaccines predate germ theory? That is factually true, that we have had vaccines for longer than we have understand germs. But somehow people think that vaccines are new fancy science technology. It's not. You kill something that's infecting people and then you inject it into them. It's not a complicated concept.
Right.
I'm trying to find. I'm over here in fucking MC's Discord server. Right. Oh, here we go. Copy link. All right, here we go.
Well,
All right.
and MC did just drop his fucking YouTube channel in the chat. So
there's a YouTube video from MC. I wanted to make sure you got the love. You know what I'm saying? Like he deserves.
yeah, like if you ain't subscribed to him, go over there, subscribe. The dude's on real good shit. I don't know if he's still doing his regular thing where it's get off my lawn, but he's fucking hilarious. He'll get into it with a bunch of different people on political sides, and the way he fucking goes about it, it's like, goddamn, you are that cranky old motherfucker whacking people with the goddamn fucking what's that shit where they fucking walk around? Not a crane, but a fucking
Cane.
Cane. That word. God damn it. Words are fucking hard. But yeah.
They are.
Yeah, definitely fucking go check out MC and get him some fucking love. Like, that dude is criminally fucking undersubbed.
Yo, criminally undersubbed. Like, criminally undersubbed. Like, yo, real shit. Like, yo, like motherfuckers is like Tom P's used to criminally undersubbed. I'm like, nigga, y'all don't know my homies out here. Like, there's some niggas out here getting it done every fucking week. They got regular streams and shit, and they fucking have no love from the motherfucking outfit whatsoever.
Bearded.
Yo,
you had brought up about the military.
If y'all want to go see the dustiest content on fucking YouTube,
I was waiting for it.
Don't do it like that, bro. Come on. I drop all kinds of content, bro.
This nigga got the dustiest YouTube channel. Like, this nigga came from the dust. Like, yo, this motherfucker was born in the Dust Bowl and shit, right? Like, yo, he has the dustiest content I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, this nigga lives inside of a dust filter on a motherfucking HEPA vacuum. I'm not
yo. You a savage, bro. You a savage. Hey, but I dropped that knowledge, though.
When this motherfucker was talking earlier, when you were talking earlier about, like, I'm African American, I was gonna be like, yeah, bitch, no shit. We know you're fucking dusty ass.
No, I'm not. Hey, I don't even call myself. I ain't never been to Africa. I'm one of them. Listen, man, respect to it, but I ain't never been to Africa.
You still got the dust on you. I get it. It's all good.
Anyway, Beardy, you were talking about the military, and I was saying, like, yeah,
and you robot.
Think about it, and why they go after them. Most charters don't have them, right?
I have no idea what the fuck you just said. Something about Chargers belt.
You can't hear me?
You were roboting.
Am I roboting?
You were roboting.
What the fuck? I was saying outlaw MC.
And then you went on from military. It started robot, and then
of course they don't want me to talk about that knowledge. But anyways, I was saying what I'm more concerned about is things like ATF, the FBI, and such. If you're talking about regular civilians, the reason as to why you look at outlaw MCs, right? Most charters don't have that many members. But why are they threatened by them? Because they got capable men.
Okay. So this is something.
Same thing with militias.
So this is something that I'm quite diverse in. I'm more of black and white than white and red. If anybody who understands that life knows what I'm talking about. Yes, you are going to have eyes on, but at the same time, those same individuals who are a part of that life, they know how to protect themselves. They know how to communicate. And this is also another interesting fact of like human psychology of a lot of the times when people leave the military, they really lean towards things like MCs or, associations like that, because there is a solid brotherhood involved. And there's automatically knowns and unknowns that You know what to talk about, what not to talk about, how to conduct yourself in different aspects like that. And when it comes to, those, like I like to call it the alphabet soup. So you're talking about your CIA, your NSA, your DSA, your DIA, all those different alphabet soup agencies. When you look at that, you know who's watching you. You know who's around. You could tell who's about that life or who's not. So it's really easy to pinpoint. Like, I know I'm already on somebody's fucking radar for my associations, for my family's history, for my associations with different individuals, and my military pass. Like, I could literally run around somebody's fucking house and build a fucking bomb big enough to take out at least a fucking neighborhood block. But am I going to do that? No. But do I have the knowledge? Yes. So I already know I'm on somebody's list. I don't give a fuck if I'm on their list. That's the difference. If you're sitting there constantly worried about it, that's your fucking paranoia and that's your fucking problem. I don't have that fucking problem. If shit goes downhill, please come for me because you ain't walking out of here alive. I am, though.
I feel where you are. Like, yo, in my Discord server, if anybody wants to look into general, I just motherfucking put up pictures of motherfucking Dip and, you know what I'm saying, him coming from.
He's looking like he's walking out of Tombstone and shit.
Look, are you in Discord by chance?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you got to go look at these pictures.
Oh, no. If they're the same ones, I know I've seen them before.
Oh, you've seen it before?
Yeah. Because right after he showed his dusty ass, they're like, look at this motherfucker. He looks like he just came back from fucking, what was it? Fucking Back from the Future. When they're out in the Wild West, he looks like that bitch who was just drunk off the corner. It's like, hey, listen to me.
Yeah. Fuck it, I'm gonna see if there's anyone else. There's any other ones in this motherfucker real quick. Oh, because there was some great motherfucking memes that I made up about that. Like, yo, they were fucking hilarious. All right, is you good? You good, nigga? You good?
Yeah. Soon this is what always happens. As soon as I start talking about governmental shit, they're like, nah, nigga, nah, you can't talk about our shit. Every fucking time they start fucking with my shit.
Yo, Dip, you need to put your motherfucking Oh wait, you can't leave the scene. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can find
But yeah, we were talking earlier about generalization versus specialization. I definitely wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
In what context?
Yo, human beings are highly adaptable animals. Like, yo, specialization is not something that we're supposed to do naturally.
I agree. But that's the push for it.
I mean, I guess there is a specialization and generalization aspect of, like, are you good at this certain thing? Like I brought up earlier, like farming, hunting, those sort of things where you have specialized, but at the same time, it's generalized.
Yeah, I'm talking over specialization. I've talked against this before because this is issues I have in my own life, and I look at the economic game and what's being played and how corrupt it is. I was telling Pinoy this show on Netflix called Alien Worlds, and at the end of the episode, it was talking about a mass extinction event, right? Planetary, and it was saying that the generalizers were the ones that would survive versus the specializers, right? And I brought that up because when you look at the world today, over specialization, I talk about this in the health field, you look at tech, you look, etc. Look who's raking in the money, and look at the general people, the jack of all trades, people like myself who are capable in many different ways. We're not the ones generally making the money. And I don't think that's necessarily right. I'm not telling people that they shouldn't focus on a field, but if you're capable in a lot of ways, you should be more highly valuable, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. But yet, at the same time, it's the effort versus the time in. So when I say that, you look at somebody like me who I'm more than capable of wearing multiple fucking hats. And I've done that time and time again in the restaurant industry,
Right.
which I'm now back into. And I know, Pinoid, you're a little fucking butthurt about that. But it is what it is. It's a fucking job. And I'm making decent fucking money. Like,
Making garbage money.
I'm making decent
Wait, what'd
money
you say you were doing again?
in the restaurant industry.
The nigga is managing his local Domino's. Nigga, fucking get a real job.
And I'm pulling.
I mean, that is the regular jobs that you have. A lot of shit shut down.
Yeah, and so
Fucking roll with me, nigga.
I'm making about 15 grand a month, every 2 weeks. So about 3 grand a month. So I'm saying, what? That's about 36,000.
That's better than a lot of people.
Yeah, that's better than a lot of people. Plus, I make tips off of that. And then also on top of that, freaking, I'm in the role to fucking pick up the general manager position, because the dude who's the general manager right now, he's going to be out in the next 6 to 8 months. And he's like, no, I want you to fucking run my restaurant, because you understand the business side of it. You understand how to motivate people. You know what the fuck needs to get done. And mind you, I've only been working there about a month and a half. So
That don't tell you how garbage that job is, nigga.
Well, it's not
like,
that, Pinoy. I can get into the bullshit that a lot of these jobs have.
It
But
tells you
anyways,
how garbage other fucking individuals are.
pretty much, yeah.
They're just hiring anybody on the fucking spot to just fill a fucking role. And
Unless they want to play the political game, which I've been a victim of that.
Yo, because Amazon's hiring for $20 an hour. How the fuck are you gonna get decent workers?
Wait. Amazon's hiring for $20 an hour where?
In my neck of the woods, it's $24 an hour. You get a job at Amazon.
What are they doing though?
Fucking order selecting.
Yeah, they're picking and pulling orders at about 110-degree heat with no breaks. And if they do get a break, they have to walk to the other side of the fucking warehouse to clock the fuck out for 30 minutes. And it only takes them about 20 minutes to get to the other side of the warehouse to clock out. So they actually have a 10-minute break. Like, nah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a dirty game. Bro.
Warehouses are not 110 degrees when it's 30 degrees outside.
Sure. Like, I've worked in a fucking warehouse when it was at least 90 fucking degrees when it was 30 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And
those warehouses are packed terribly.
Yeah,
I've worked in warehouses. They're trash.
Fucking manager, fucking $15 an hour, fucking, and I got fired.
I was just in a warehouse. I was just in an Amazon warehouse today, and legit, it was like fucking 40 degrees, 50, maybe 60 degrees in there. It's fucking fine.
I was I remember being in the back of different shit, and just how it was packed outside was like anywhere from 40 to 20 degrees out, right? In there, it's like fucking 70, 80, 90 degrees. It's like, the fuck?
I used to order select in a real warehouse, right? Like doing actual order select in a grocery warehouse, running in steel toes all day long, all right, for like $14 to $15 an hour. Nigga, believe me, all that Amazon bullshit is just a bunch of commies fucking whining. All right?
But
I don't know about Amazon. I never worked for them.
So what we're kind of getting away from is being able to wear the multiple fucking hats, right? And like the people are willing to actually fucking put in the goddamn work. I was fucking talking to a fucking dude who's a district manager, which they make over $100,000 a year.
Yep.
Being district manager for fucking Domino's. Well, dude's only been with the company for 3 fucking years. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me I could go from 36,000 to somewhere around the 55 to 70,000 range to the $100,000 range plus in less than 3 years on my fucking track, fuck yeah. Because I put in the fucking work, I put in the fucking effort. I'm more than willing to fucking do it. But
If they put you through the ranks, I'll be glad for you, because a lot of times with companies, if you're capable, they hold your ass back, bro. I've lived it. I've seen it.
That's the difference. Is I've already started implementing shit, and fucking my district manager is like, "You're my next fucking GM," and
That's
he
good.
said that within the first 2 weeks of me fucking being there. I was like, "Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm coming for your job." He's like, "What?" I said, "I'm coming for your job. I'm gonna take your job away from you." And he goes, "Well, shit, I like that fucking drive, and I want you to do it." I said, "Bet you'll see me in the next year and a half coming for your job."
Well, like, look. Let me be real here about you, right? Like, okay, so you're talking about they hold back capable workers. Let me put this like this: the vast majorities of companies and corporations want you to be replaceable, right?
Yep.
Right. And that's just, that's good business, right? Because that way, like, you don't hold any leverage over the company.
Yep.
Right. If you're good at what you do, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't fucking matter. The company doesn't want you to be very, very good at what you do. Now, on the other hand, though, now see, I'm in a whatchamacallit, I'm in an industry where, like, legit, I can write my own fucking paycheck depending on my abilities at my job, right? Because of the fact that I'm, good at what I do. Now, if I work for a larger corporation, they don't care how good I am at my job, right? They don't care about the fact that I have fucking 7 years of safe driving or 700,000 miles behind the wheel of fucking safe driving and no fucking, violations and things of this nature. They don't care about any of that shit. What they care about is, am I going to fucking follow their system, right? Which I'm probably not going to do, right? Because, like, that's how I run things. That's how I do. I drive the way I drive because, like, I'm fucking in the Northeast. You know what I mean?
Well, like I was saying, I've already implemented shit that they've identified me of, like, oh, you're going to be the next motherfucker. Because I walked in there, they weren't taking account of no fucking waste. They were not scaling anything. They were not scaling anything out. They were fucking letting labor go fucking goddamn banana sandwich. And fucking, I walked in there, I was like, no. Hey, guess what? You're going the fuck home. Hey, guess what? You're going the fuck home. Hey, guess what? Use that fucking scale. Hey, how much fucking cheese goes on a fucking large 14-inch hand tossed pizza? Oh, you don't fucking know? Well, you're off the fucking make line until you fucking actually know how to do that. And the district manager was like, whoa, hold on, slow down. I was like, are you going to have your people over topping shit so that way it costs us in fucking food? Are we tracking waste? Nope, we're not tracking waste. All right, let's track our waste. So now we can take that into our food costs. Oh, look, our food costs every night that I'm fucking there, our food cost is less than 0.02%. But any other fucking manager, it's from 4 to fucking 10%. We're talking fucking at least in that scale, just for food costs, you're looking at anywhere between $500 to $750 plus per night. Now you take in a factor labor could be over anywhere between 10 to fucking 25%. So now you're adding in almost another $1,000 on top of that.
Oh, did you help them with did y'all have any straight waste problems? Meaning like y'all had to get rid of shit because people weren't FIFOing and shit correctly? Been there.
Yes, but I already fucking put a system in place and they approved it. It's already in place, and oh, look at that. Per fucking every manager's fucking shift, their waste and their fucking food costs has gone down anywhere between 1.5 to 4% every fucking night.
Well, all right. We got to address Fishdale in the motherfucking in the chat. He says, "What the people that are for shipping manufacturing jobs to China? Yeah, cheaper products don't matter when people don't have fucking jobs, right? Don't matter when you're poor, right? And see, here's the thing, right? And this is kind of important too, right? what you got to understand is the vast majority of people who spout this nonsense off are individuals who aren't affected by jobs being shipped to China, right?
Right.
They're not in those communities. They don't deal with those people, and they feel as though,
Haven't lost their jobs.
Yeah, like they go, oh, I'm not concerned about that because I went to college and I got trained to do some other shit or whatever the case might be. And they want America to progress technologically. Whereas I'm like, I don't give a fuck if America progresses technologically. Like, I don't care if we climb up the value added scheme or value added motherfucking scale and shit. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me none, right? I'd much prefer to pay more for fucking goods and have individuals who have jobs in manufacturing businesses and have individuals be able to fucking, build a middle class than I would to fucking have cheap fucking goods that keeps the cost of living down for, the local housewife to be able to buy a fucking $5 toaster from Walmart. Like, I don't care about the fact that TVs are $100. TVs should be $500 or $600. Why? Because you don't need fucking 14 of them. Like,
here's the thing, Tom.
Go ahead, man.
Here's what people don't understand about what you're just saying in a deeper. If everything's I'm not saying straight up forced, but whatever. If everything's made here, end of the day, it will end up being cheaper. Now, here's why. Because I'm not just talking about the electronics and the appliances, right? People make more, right? They're able to pay, meaning everything comes back full circle. The cost of living goes down and more. When you are able to push it outside of it, oh, a tax here, a tax there. Everybody and their mama got to get paid. The more middlemen, right? And it seems cheaper, but everybody has to get paid. And then nobody has the money to really be able to pay. It's a paradoxical situation.
Well, like, the whole thing's paradoxical, right?
Yeah.
Like, the entire thing, like the entire process altogether. And to stand here and go, well, Americans don't want those jobs. I'll be honest with you, man.
Bullshit.
Like, it's line up around the block for fucking manufacturing jobs on a regular basis.
It's.
I don't have the opportunity. Even farming jobs, I don't even have the fucking opportunity, even if I wanted to.
There are a bunch of motherfuckers out there who are more than willing to work. Absolutely. Yet at the same time, there's a lot of motherfuckers out there who are too prideful to flip a burger, to make a pizza, to use what they know to fucking apply that to lift themselves up into a different fucking level.
No. Here's the problem, right? Here's the real problem. The problem is that's not gonna pay for a decent lifestyle.
Right.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? That's the fucking problem. Is like, yo, look, legit. You don't think I'd rather be working in the kitchen right now? Like, real talk. Like, you don't think that I would, like, legit, like, being a cook is what I would prefer to do. Like, that is my preferred profession. Right? But, like, they're just not, it doesn't pay enough for me to maintain my lifestyle. Right?
Yeah,
like, if I could afford a place, like, if this was like, say,
I would argue then that
I could do it.
I would argue then that it's not your pay, it's your lifestyle.
No. Like, yo, the average fucking
having fucking 20 kids with 20 different bitches, like.
Yeah, but the average apartment cost is $1,300 a month.
Right. And again, because companies fucking don't want to pay. And I'm talking about in situations where they don't even have really any employees. A lot of bosses and shit don't want to fucking pay, bro.
Yo,
what people
Victor,
are owed.
like,
I've lived that shit.
Victor, here's my thing, right? Like, yo, even if you open a restaurant, you know what a restaurant nets? Like, every year? Like, real shit, you know what the number is?
A few million
it depends
at best?
No.
Yeah, it depends on...
You're talking maybe in the millions if you're in a main city like Nashville.
I said at best.
No.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you exactly what a pizza shop earns every year on average. Right? yo, and this is before all the bullshit gets paid. This is, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is after payroll and inventory. 70 grand a year.
Sounds about right.
Now, you're definitely talking about individual, not like corporation sale, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And no, I completely fucking agree with that. Because opening your own restaurant is fucking hard as hell. Like, that is one of my biggest fucking dreams and ambitions. Like, I would love to fucking open my own restaurant. But factoring in the fiscal fucking aspects of it, I'm like, nope. No, it's like, do I want to keep fucking struggling, or do I want to be a bitch boy to a corporation and throw my multiple hats into the ring?
Right. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, I can make 80 grand a year right now, right? And not kill myself, right?
Right.
Or I can go open a restaurant, kill myself, and make 70 grand a year. Which one should I do?
And that's the hard, that kind of goes back to why I brought the subject up, generalization versus specialization, because the game is skewed against entrepreneurship. You know, they make it to the point where it's better if you just take this rather than breaking out and risking on your own because of the costs.
Well, it's not that. You know what I mean? It's there's fucking limits, right? Like, there's always going to be limits. It's about financial decisions, right? It's like, how much money is this shit value? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yo, fucking, it's how much money is this worth for me to go do? And that's an important conversation to have when you're starting a business, right?
Yeah, because as a business owner, let's take your example of, pizza. Let's say you're opening a pizza shop. Not only are you now looking at what the cost is for, having that product come in versus it going out, but now you're also factoring in the lights, the rent, all those other factors go into those cents for each fucking pepperoni that goes onto a fucking pizza, or each fucking black olive or pineapple or whatever.
And the prices aren't fixed. They go up and down.
Yeah.
Like, man, like, motherfuckers think that, like, fucking shit just costs the same all the time. Nigga, tomatoes go up and down in price. Pepperoni goes up and down in price. Cheese goes up and fucking down in price. You can pay anywhere between, like, fucking $1.50 a pound to fucking $3.50 a pound for cheese.
Dude, like, one of our biggest issues
valuing into the
one of our biggest issues at our company is pizza cheese. And they say pizza cheese, but it's sponsored at all. But the fact that, like, if people are not weighing it out properly or doing it correctly, you're now costing the company anywhere between $30 to fucking $200 per night. And, like, it's that fucking simple. And we're only talking about ounces, not even pounds off. Ounces.
Right.
And that's how much the fucking price varies.
Right. Think about it. Think about this, right? Like, like, I was thinking about opening a food truck at one point, right? Nigga, do you know what a food truck costs?
Oh, what type of food truck you trying to do?
I was gonna go with Mexican food just because it's easy, right?
Anywhere between
that's not easy.
Anywhere between 40 to 120,000. Just basic costs of licenses, getting everything, health inspection, freaking, your heat sources, your utensils, your basic startup costs. You're looking at low side, if you're being super fucking cheap and you're in a decent cheap area, 40,000. High side,
facts,
120,000. Because
I thought you were gonna say 250.
Here's where I'm at, right? Think about it like this, right? So the truck by itself, without any equipment in it, all right, is gonna run you somewhere around 75 to 80 grand, right? And that's buying new, right? If you buy used, you could probably find one about 30, 35,000. That's in good running condition, right?
I found one for 20 grand. I found a decent one for 20 grand, and I was like, okay, I could buy everything else for another 20 grand. So, like,
Well,
40,000. Like,
here's the question. All right, so now here's where it's at, right? By the time you're putting in everything for code, right?
Yep.
Wiring everything up, getting it all fucking plated out, getting everything fucking put in. You're talking grill, you're talking, you know what I'm saying, fucking grill, press, fucking stove, pots, pans, fucking all the
refrigeration.
refrigeration,
Yeah,
right? Generator, right? Fuel, like spare fuel source, and then on top of that, pulling the permits for all the shit and getting all your shit motherfucking inspected. By the time you're done with all that, you're talking you're over 200 grand to start with.
That's more what I was talking about. 250. That's what I was thinking.
And like I said, it depends on where you're at too, because the fees can be different. You know, you got the different influxes. Because like I said, I found a decent used fucking truck for 20 grand. I was like, all right, I know I can toss another 20 grand into all the different fucking things I need. The fees, the fucking utensils, like the fucking heating elements, everything like that. I could start up at a minimum of anywhere between 40 to 60. Now,
Right.
Hang on.
No, but I'm including like Pinot. I'm including all of the things that you have, like all of the costs.
now
Here's the thing, right? Here's the problem. Even if you buy a used truck, right? You got to get a window put in, nigga. Right? You're gonna have to put in like new floors. You got to put in new walls. Everything has to be. Or you have to put in a fucking fire sprinkler system, right? So you have to put the fucking plumbing in for shit. You have to fucking stand here and, you know what I mean, fucking have everything, what is it? It's like fucking heat treated and all the bullshit that goes with it. You know what I mean?
all of that was good to go. For the exterior, it was just the interior. But then my markup started coming at realistically looking at marketing. You know, getting my name out there. How to fucking do it with social media, word of mouth. You know,
Right.
the places I was going to hit, the gas mileage, different aspects like that. How much product am I going to hand out for free so that way I'm getting my name out there? Now, how much is that going to eat into my value of what I've already put in? And so I was like, at the end of the day, it's not fucking worth it. No fucking way.
And then, like, yeah, here's the thing. How much do you think you're going to make a day? And what hours are you really going to realistically be open?
Right. This is, gentlemen, you're to say something interesting because I hear that a lot with food. Like, they value it into the cost of shit. The way I look at shit is how much upfront am I going to do before I would even go into an endeavor or invest thousands upon thousands of dollars. How much is it going to cost me up front? What are the licenses and insurance and shit? A lot of people don't think about these things because they have no knowledge of business. I talk with different people who are much more knowledgeable about it, and they let me know, dude, you need all these insurances and shit. It was like Cobra Kai, the show. I got to episode 2, and the guy comes in is like, oh, you know you need like this insurance and this licensing and just to be open, right? And he's like, the dude's like, what the fuck? No one, because they don't teach people this shit. They're like, oh, just open up a business. You're gonna make money. No
like,
one ever educates.
You got to carry like $1 million bond in case you fucking poison somebody with your food, right? Like, yo,
most
it's just
businesses today cost $3 to $5 million, and that's just to open, bro. We're not even talking about making real money, man.
like, yo, the amount of weight that you're talking about putting on your motherfucking back, and now you got social distancing and all this bullshit.
Yep.
And you ain't even hired nobody to fucking cook for you yet, and you got to carry workers' comp insurance on that motherfucker, and like all the shit that goes with that.
I'm pissed that you know what they keep doing in restaurants, like, oh, can't dine or a lot of bars and restaurants that I'm cool with. Oh, that shit closed, and I'm pissed because I like dining because I like helping support, you know, both local businesses as well as big. I practice what I preach. I don't mind small or big businesses. I think there's value in both. There's value in corporations as well as mom and pop shops. So it's just fucking, you're not allowing businesses to thrive, and they're intentionally doing this. Everybody's getting fucked over. small and big.
Yeah,
Everybody's
well, and speaking of big getting fucked over, apparently because I was talking to my district manager, he came from Cali, and
Yep.
what he was saying is what people are doing out in Cali is they were hopping from hospitality to hospitality because what they said was if you get hired on, you have a mandatory 2-week quarantine because of COVID, and then you could work the job. So they would get hired on, they would have their quarantine, quit, and then go to their next job, and go to their next job, and go to their next job.
Wait. They were getting paid during that 2 weeks?
Yes.
Man, what they do that? Man, Cali's sweet. Because they don't do this up in Washington State and in Florida. This shit too outlaw out here. They don't do that shit. I don't get paid for shit.
Yo, yeah, fucking man, listen.
You don't work, you don't get paid. That's how it is where I'm from.
We haven't lost any restaurants that weren't corporate owned in my neck of the woods.
You said you haven't?
Nope, not one.
Y'all are blessed. Y'all are blessed, bro.
Here's the thing. Like, we don't have any corporate restaurants in the city.
Y'all, that's why I say y'all are blessed.
Right? Like, like nobody dines in anyway. They're like bodegas. So you go in, you get a pack of cigarettes, you grab your fucking sub, and you get the fuck out of Dodge. Right?
Oh, okay. There's like sub shops, got you. They're not like dine-in restaurantes.
Nah, like fucking like we haven't lost any goddamn restaurants because like legit, like fucking like all of our pizza shops put like Domino's and Pizza Hut the fuck out of business. Right? That's like imagine having like local fucking pizza shops that every one of them they make their own bread for fucking subs every day.
Oh, I know what type of shops you're talking about. Only some places around the nation do that though.
Yo, every pizza shop in my neck of the woods does it.
Y'all a small town?
No. I'm in the Northeast, son. Like, yo, it's all Italians and Puerto Ricans and shit.
Well, see, what you just said, there's a key thing with the ethnic aspect, and it goes way back to what we were talking about, nationalism, or not so much nationalism, but national culture and identity. That shit matters, man. It's just like with the Caribbean folk. Their shit's completely different. If you've ever eaten or attended any Caribbean or like Ethiopian spot, the shit's just like entering into a different world without leaving the nation. Completely different.
Yeah. I mean, like, the Caribbean individuals, they have like a whole different culture than the rest of us do. And it's fine.
Right.
I mean, like, and we, legit, like, again, Tres Hermanos is still the fuck open and shit. You know what I mean? All the Puerto Rican spots is still open, nigga.
That ain't closed for shit. That shit needs an actual, because I don't consider this an actual pandemic. People need to stop misusing that word. It's not a fucking pandemic, bro. This is not.
We got a bad flu season.
Exactly. A fucking pandemic takes out a fifth to a third of the population. That's what a fucking pandemic is. A fucking pandemic would shut everything down because people are dying. Dudes would just be dead in the streets. Everyone.
Right. Yo, Doku, a microbrewery is not a business. All right. That's basically just a place for hipsters to hang the fuck out. All right.
That's not a fucking business. That's just a chill spot, bro. That's a chill spot that we made into a business. That's all that shit is, bro. I'm one who drinks at different spots. That's how I know.
Yo, microbreweries are not businesses, okay?
That's you and your friends getting together and drinking together.
Yo, look, if you were an actual good microbrewery, you'd still be selling beer.
Dude, if you're a microbrewer, that means you're making your own shit and you're shipping it off either to grocery stores, convenience stores, or the other fucking bars. How do I know this? Because I'm in Washington State and in Seattle, that's what the fuck we do. That's what the fuck they do.
Don't sit here and tell me how the Ram is so beautiful and blah, blah, blah. Like, fuck your Ram out in fucking Washington. Like, want to look at microbreweries? Look at the fucking Midwestern states.
That's another example. Same shit.
Right.
Same shit.
Like, I've never eaten or drank inside of my local microbrewery. We got Appalachian Brewing Company out here, right? And it's still open. Like, it's still running. You know what I mean? It hasn't closed down. But like legit, nobody like would be mad if they did.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss the shit here either.
Like, yo,
that's just me.
Yo, Doku or Dip, you remember that place I was telling you about, the tire shop that had like a fucking the hill behind it collapsed and the parking lot fell on top of the business?
Maybe. That's probably been a while ago.
All right, yo, check this shit out. So here's what happened. So the city let the fucking pipes become so dilapidated, to go back to what TK Mao said, right? Yo, fuck 3/4 Yoda, bitch nigga, right? Fucking so yo, fucking anyway, right? Where was it? Oh yeah, the state let shit get so dilapidated that the terracotta pipes that carry all the fucking rainwater and sewage and runoff and shit across like the city fell apart, right?
Wait, why the fuck they using terracotta across the city?
Because they've never updated the pipes because they're fucking retarded.
This is not the fucking Roman Empire. What the hell? Yo, that horse shit is ridiculous.
This is the way.
Yeah, this
make
is
me
how
go off, bro.
Right? So like they've never updated the pipe, so it fell apart and it washed out a giant hole or a cave underneath of this fucking parking lot and shit, right? And the parking lot with all the cars in it fell into a fucking garage that did like tires and shit in the city, right? And now this here legit, yo, fucking 3/4 Yoda's a fucking bitch nigga, right? Fucking like this place was like one of like the best like places to go get like alignments and shit done and tires shit call, and they've been around forever. Like, yo, I'll be honest with you, this place was a little shop in my little neighborhood back in the day before they bought this bigger place down on like fucking Cameron, and they used to fucking fix our bike tires and shit when we were kids. Like, they were fucking great guys. And these dudes here, legit, they're talking about opening back up after 3 or 4, or after 7 or 8 years now, 7 or 8 years now of being out of business because the city, right? The city refused to pay. They removed the cars out of their garage that fell through their roof.
This is the shit I'm talking about, bro. Like,
But
this comes from Florida,
like, yo,
and this sounds like some backwoods booty
right
shit.
now. Like, yo, they're fucking talking about reopening right now. That's how gangster my city is. Like, yo, that's how good the business is. The businesses do not go under in my city. Like, yo, if you have a bar, every bar in my city has been there since fucking 1875. Every pizza shop has been there since 1940.
Respect.
Like, yo, all these places are like, yo, they're all fucking still the same exact shit, the same exact way, the same exact building, the same exact recipes as they were in the 20s and 10s and 30s and shit.
That means that you have local support, and that's the important, because I'm from a small town where it does a similar shit, and they go until people just decide they want to sell or some shit or just retire, you know. And that's important to the community, because you have generations that come through. But me being from Florida, that sounds like some backwoods boony shit. How the fuck they allow? That's just dirty. How they allow that to happen?
Hey, Pinoid, what's this? I heard that you got a special relationship with the bartenders at the local gay bars. 3/4.
Yeah, man. Yo, 3/4 introduced us and shit. You know what I'm saying? After he came out the back,
introduced you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
3/4 he was in the alleyway on his knees. I don't know what he was doing on his knees, right? But fucking, you know what I mean? He came out and he's like, "Oh, Ty, you got to meet this guy, man. He's great." And I was like, "What up?" And the guy was like, "How are you?" Right? And I was like, "Why you over here on your knees in the alleyway with a nigga who's obviously gay?" You know what I mean? I don't know what the deal is, but that's 3/4's business. I don't knock him for what he does. You know what I mean? But I don't really have a special relationship with him, other than the fact that, like, you know what I mean, they know Yoda and I know Yoda. You know what I mean?
I mean, did you just watch in the corner and jack off, or did you get on it? Like, let's be honest about this shit.
Man, look, honest to God, man, legit, I was coming. I'm assuming 3/4 was finishing up. I don't know how long he was back there. I don't really, know fucking what the hell he does. It's his business,
Yeah, I typically stay away from gay bars. Yeah, more so for safety reasons.
Like, I'll be honest, man. It's in the neck of the woods where, like, there's a lot of cops. Like, we have a downtown section, right? That's like constantly changing hands and renovating, because like it's where the clubs are all at, right? It's like, you got like all your regular clubs and gay bars or whatever the case might be, right? But like they keep going under and going out of business because like the black people go in there and shoot motherfuckers and shit, and then they pull their liquor license.
Oh I thought you were going to go out saying they were going out of business because of like their constant bust. They're getting busted for shit.
No. Niggas is going in the club and popping off. Like they're fucking hitting niggas with a 22 in the eye and shit. You know?
Why not just wait till they outside the club and then hit them?
Dip fucking around, spraying his fucking dust at motherfuckers. They can't see shit, can't hit shit.
Well, that's why Dip never gets shot. He's in like that constant cloud, like that nigga fucking from Charlie Brown and shit.
No. First of all, I'm not Pigpen. Nah, I don't get shot. I have had guns pulled on me, but I don't get shot because I generally don't take bullshit and know how to deal with it.
Yeah, nobody wants to shoot Black Jesus. The fuck?
Oh, did you go look at the motherfucking pictures there? Did you, Bearded?
Yeah, no, I saw them. I saw them before. I know what Dip looks
like.
Wait,
where are these pictures?
They're in my Discord server.
Yeah.
Oh Lord! Oh no! I don't even want to. This is about to be wild, bro. Y'all wild fuck. Listen, man. What it is I use regular like camera shit. So sometimes the shit doesn't come through resolution wise.
You're the originator of a fucking dust storm. Like when motherfuckers say I got caught in a dust storm, I just see Dip fucking circling around them.
I'm not even. I'm not even that. So that's the funny part.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Like, so the clubs are downtown where no one lives. It's not in the ghetto. No one lives there, right? Like, it's all like, you know, it's like
is it industrial.
It's the hospital, the courthouse.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like the federal building, fucking like.
Damn, and they shooting. They shoot there,
and then right next door is the clubs.
Where they do this at?
Right, like it's like there's a strip on 2nd Street. It starts off with the hospital, right? It has a big ass hospital, and then across the street is like fucking like I don't know, like corporations and shit. Like they got like insurance companies and like fucking.
This sounds like an intentional entrapment situation.
Yeah. Like all of it, the whole downtown section, the whole way through 2nd Street until you get up to like Division, which is probably like 10 blocks, is all either like restaurants, bars, or corporations. No one lives there. Lawyers' offices, children youth services, the juvenile justice center, I'm trying to think here, the bank, right? But the clubs are kind of like mixed in among this shit. And so like, you know, at late night after, you know, I mean, there's nobody in any of these fucking buildings other than the police, which is like 2 blocks away, right? Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers go to the club, you know what I mean? And like the white girls are out there, you know what I mean? Fucking at 3 a.m. in the fucking morning with their fucking, you know, or like, you know, midnight in mid-February and shit with, you know what I mean, their goddamn their fucking short shorts on or whatever.
Stupid as hell.
Right, yeah, dumb as fuck. You know what I mean?
Having and then short ass dresses, 20 degrees.
Yeah, you got them fucking them preppy ass white boys. And then, you know what I mean, like they're buying drugs from the black dudes who came in from the hood, and all of them are having a turf war inside of the club to determine who's sitting where, right?
What trips me out is like Dip's like, oh shit, this sounds like entrapment. I'm like, this sounds like a Tuesday, motherfucker. What the fuck?
This is how this works in the city.
I know it's a typical Tuesday. You get my point though. They build that intentionally.
And as they bring 22s with them, right? So as the bass hits, what they do is they pull the 22 out, right? When the bass hits and they shoot a nigga in the fucking eye and walk away, right? And like, yo, that way, you know, they can kill the motherfucker with the 22 and not drag too much attention because they just do it with the baseline. You know what I mean?
That's some Scarface shit. That one scene when he was in the Babylon. Oh man, that's funny as fuck.
Yeah, like that's, you know, I mean, that's how it works at the local bars where the fuck I'm at and shit. And then they get shut down because all of a sudden they're dragging bodies out of that bitch. And we have what's known as liquor licenses, right? So like you have to buy a license from the state in order to fucking sell liquor, right?
Right.
And they go up for auction, right? Because there's only a certain number of licenses, and the licenses usually go with the building, right? So as the liquor license ends up getting canceled or whatever, like for that corporation, somebody else has to buy it. And so what they do is they stand here and they fucking put it up at auction, and the licenses can go from anywhere from, you know, $150,000 to $4 million a piece.
Yo, Pennsylvania on that straight racket shit, bro.
yo,
y'all
niggas,
gangster just through and through. That's why they call you Pennsylvania. That's why I see now y'all just on y'all get straight organized crime. That's organized.
Yo, like legit, they stand here. Yeah, like our fucking state is really organized crime, and they're like, yo, you ain't gonna say nothing about them stealing an election? Like, nigga, this is normal. Like, that is the least of the shit that they do to us. Like the. Like, yo, legit, the plows go down. Check this shit out. Right, yo, the plows go down through and push the snow up, and they'll fucking run over people's houses, fucking like their porches and shit. And then as people try to rebuild their porches, they'll fine them for not having permits and sell them permits after they're plowed and wiped out the porch in the house.
Yo, that's some mob shit, bro. Yo, Vito, you know the funny thing is about how I already knew it was fraudulent, and before any of the evidence, besides the numbers, before any of it, on like that Tuesday, Wednesday, right? I already knew it was major corruption and fraud. You wanna know how? Places. Philly. Come on now. Detroit. Detroit is known for organized crime. I'm surprised it wasn't Chi-Town. I'm from Florida. I know how this shit works. Vegas, Nevada, Vegas, Milwaukee, all histories, centuries-long histories of corruption, bro. Are you kidding me? Y'all already know it's fraud. There was no fraud. Wait for an investigation. That's what I kept saying, and people were like, oh, no, there wasn't a lie. What the fuck you mean? Are you shit? Biden, known for corruption, fucking should be locked up in a federal penitentiary.
Niggas have no idea, like, they have no clue how corrupt he is.
Like, yo, he is one of the most. I won't say he's the most, because some people are saying he's the worst. No, he's not the worst.
Oh, no, he is not the worst. Like, yo, he's tied. He's tied with 4 or 5 motherfuckers for like 2nd or 3rd place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's probably like, if we were like talking sports, like, you could top 20. I'd probably put him in like the 2nd tier, the 11 to 20s. Maybe top 25. Because, for example, Ted Kennedy. You know what the fuck Ted Kennedy did, for example.
Ted Kennedy then dropped the bitch off in a lake and forgot about her.
Like, I'm not laughing at these things. I take this shit seriously, but
I heard some of the last bills that he had died in Congress, and he didn't even fucking tell nobody for 12, 13 hours.
Dude, and I hate being like this. There's a few exceptions, like Dr. Ron Paul. But if you're in Congress or in the Senate for 3 to 4 decades, and your ass is not corrupt, here's how I know they corrupt. What has been done for 3 to 4 decades? Oh, we're going to bring change. Bernie Sanders, economically illiterate Bernie Sanders. He's part of the problem. Fucking the insidious fossil Nancy Pelosi. She's part of the problem. I've been saying this for months.
Mitch McConnell's part of the problem. Right now,
exactly, Mitch McConnell.
Asking me, they're like, yo, what do you think fucking Biden's going to work with? Do you think Biden's going to fucking have problems with the Republicans? No,
because he's been in bed with them.
They're the same fucking people.
Exactly. Yo, they forget this, right? Regardless of what your views on Bush is, right? Regardless of whatever anybody's views on him, love him, hate him, irrelevant. Same thing with Donald Trump. Regardless, people forget that Bush at times had a majority Republican Party, and ain't shit got done. What should that tell you?
I know.
I remember. I don't have coastal amnesia.
Donald Trump had a Republican motherfucking held Congress when he went in. Legit.
Thank you.
Right? Yo,
they hate him.
Ain't do a goddamn thing with it.
Because they hate Donald Trump. It's been that way. I've noticed this since 2012. They need a villain, right? Because before everybody was the Clinton, he's got the ties, right? Bush had the ties. All of them had the ties. Barack Obama, puppeteer. He was a puppet, right? When you look at Dr. Ron Paul, and I started seeing this in 2012. He's the only time I ever voted, I wrote him in as a candidate. They try to make him straight villain, right? When you look at Donald Trump in 2016, starting with 2015, they wanted, and he's like, okay, I'm going to become the ultimate heel, using a pro wrestling term. And he's like, oh, y'all want to paint me out to be a villain? I'm going to be the villain. And because he was a major threat, he was a loose cannon, a wild card. Tulsi Gabbard, again, you can love her, hate her regardless, but she talking about cleaning up the corruption. Oh, we can't be having that. Oh, she dissed Hillary Clinton. We can't be having that. We cannot have that. Every time you're a threat, they make you as a villain. Every single fucking time. Tulsi Gabbard, you would think she would be a liberal, progressive, fantasy, right? Former military, woman of color, all this, They hate her.
How is that bitch a woman of color?
She's like Hindi and some mixed shit. She's mixed shit.
Man, she's a motherfucking goddamn fucking Hawaiian. She one of them Polynesian bitches.
She's a mutt. But
I feel you, but she's not a woman of color though.
But regardless, that's what they paint her as, right? That's what they paint her as. Regardless, like she Hindi and all that shit, right? The thing is, she's like 8 layers of stuff they claim that they want, right?
Right.
She's young too.
And she's
look what happened.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's hot. And look at what they did. They gave her no love. Kamala Harris, which everybody hates.
Because she wants to end the fucking wars.
Yep.
They didn't want that.
She ended Kamala Harris.
How they gonna make money if they can't motherfucking go and bomb brown people? Come on, man.
It's not even just about bombing. They just want to build the shit and waste all the money and suck in all the fucking money.
We dropped so many bombs in Syria in fucking 2016. We ran out of goddamn bombs.
How the fuck you run out of bombs?
We ran out of bombs, nigga. Like legit. Like they went back for more bombs. There was no bombs there.
Yo, this is a comedy routine. Yo,
how you run out of bombs? Like, yo, this is America. What do you mean we're out of bombs? They go, yo, we're out of bombs, man. We ain't got no more bombs.
This is like some World War II shit out I would expect. The fuck? How do you fucking run out of bombs in the United States?
Because them niggas didn't send enough over. They need their local stock was depleted of bombs, right? They're like, we didn't plan on dropping this many bombs. They're like, well, we're gonna need more bombs, right? And they made a fucking phone call, and fucking all of a sudden they had UPS shipping bombs over to them, fucking from Iraq, right?
Hey, Tom, you know what this reminds me of? It's like, do you know the show Queen of the South? Phenomenal show, by the way. But it's like a drug kingpin, right? Not having enough coke. He's like, or having enough heroin or whatever. Like, what do you mean? How you out? I thought you ordered wholesale.
And by the way, I want to ask y'all a question. Questions. All right, so Tom Pease told you that none of that fucking left-wing garbage was real, right? I told you all that a while back, right? You know what I'm saying? I told you, don't worry about that. That's not what's really going on. I'm pretty sure that's what I said to every one of you niggas out here. Everybody, I went around for 2 months and I told you, I said, look, the fucking don't worry about BLM and all this bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's all bullshit. When's the last time anybody's heard from BLM?
As
anybody saying BLM, nigga, we need to go find BLM. Them niggas is lost right now. All right, they got hostage and shit. They kidnapped.
Here's the honest to God truth, as someone who's on the ground with shit, right? Here's the honest to God truth, because people, and yes, is certain ones getting paid, yes, but is the average? No. So as one who's on the ground, so this is what happens when you have opportunists. Like, I know people who talk, oh, Soros, listen, forget all that bullshit. Here's the honest to God truth, right? Humans, because we were talking about human psychology, right? You know how fickle people are. And you know how not about that life most people are, right? So for those who are actually in the street, who are actively about that life, they're still there. There's no press on them. All the quote unquote Black Lives Matter, Antifa, most of those were just regular fucking people. Honest to God.
Yeah, I know.
You know how the game is. And so they were talking about this and saying all of this. And a lot of it, and I'm going to call a spade, a lot of it was a bunch of white folks. That's what people, it's a bunch of, no, it's a bunch of white folks. Some BLM, white folks are about it, some aren't.
BLM had no idea they were being ran by a white woman.
But that's the thing about BLM. You got two aspects. You got the quote unquote organization, which I know nothing about except a few of them. And even a lot of us, we don't fuck with them. Let's just put it that way. And number two, it was just a bunch of regular ass young people for the most part, and some older people. but it was just a bunch of regular people.
Look, here's what I'm telling you, okay? Like, legitimately, all these businesses that push BLM, like, the reasons why they did this shit, real talk, the reasons why they did this shit is because they wanted to stir up enough shit that they can get rid of motherfucking Donald Trump because he was threatening to take away their slave labor across the fucking seas.
Facts.
That's all it was. Every one of those companies that fucking bitched.
I'm actually over shit.
Yo, I even came out with a video showing that the board members are the same between fucking between the different motherfucking companies that were bitching.
Right, I saw that. TK said not white folks. You're telling me most of y'all motherfuckers who are talking this shit aren't actually actively on the ground with shit, so you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're talking about.
All white. It was all white folks.
It's a majority white folks, as everything is. Because a lot of black folks, there's not a lot of us. Plus, we are more skeptical.
Yo, look, you think a black dude's gonna go to a rally where he's gonna run into police? Them niggas got warrants and shit. Fuck out of here.
I mean, I do, but I know how to fucking get away from cops.
Ain't nobody interested in fucking up their Jordans, trying to get away from the police, climbing fences and shit, run away from dogs. Fuck all that.
I mean, that's regular shit. But
I feel what you're saying, but I'm getting old, nigga. Like, I'm too old to be fucking.
Yes. But that's the thing. You also understand how this is like.
Oh shit! He dropped out right. It was
He was roboting real bad, and then he dropped out. Fucking assuming he lost service or whatever.
Yeah. And I assumed that he didn't see that because YouTube censored my shit.
Oh,
BLM is ran by Jewish lesbians, not white people. Like, that was my point.
Yeah, I know. Actually, like the main person who was like gathering up funding for BLM was a white Jewish bitch who was part of what the fuck was that shit back in the day?
Don't call them white. They don't call themselves white.
All right. It was she was a Jewish bitch who was part of God damn it, that storm thing, fucking where they were blowing shit up back in the day. The Weather Underground. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Weather Underground. Yeah, them crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
In the 70s, that was like 1971, 72.
Indicted and went to jail and came out and was literally fucking convicted as a terrorist for bombing things. Was the individual who was put into place to run the funding for fucking BLM.
Yeah. Like,
you're talking the organization versus the people on the ground. That's what most people don't understand. There's a division.
I know.
Yeah.
And
most of them aren't getting paid for shit.
You're not wrong that most of the people who are BLM on the ground are some like strung out white folks. I'm not.
No, not strung out. They're just regular people, bro. They're just literally regular people you will meet on a daily thing at a coffee shop.
You know, regular smegular. You know.
Like,
all right. Yo, look. I'm freezing my ass off. I need to turn the heat on, and I'm gonna go get something to eat, and I'm gonna motherfucking lay my ass down for the night. It's been 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's a plenty long enough motherfucking podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying at this point. So thank you, Dip, for coming out. I want to thank BB and TK Mal for making this most definitely interesting at some points. And like fucking, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you bringing the dust. You know what I'm saying? You bring the goddamn.
That reminds me of GTA San Andreas. K-Dust was the radio station. But anyway.
Yo, this nigga, he bring, everybody else, they bring the heat. This nigga bring the dust.
Hey, I don't fuck with angel dust though, so we're good.
All right, motherfuckers. Like, yo, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. You know, it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching. You know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe, man. Fucking peace be like one, my niggas. And broadcast.